Tonight, DRTV makes a stop at the Hobo Racing League for the 2016 Christmas race at the MNRL Speedway. So grab a beverage, something to snack on, and strap yourself in, because live flag-to-flag coverage is coming your way next on DRTV.
And we welcome you to DRL Network live coverage of the Hobo Racing 2016 Christmas race here tonight at the MNRL Speedway, a 1 mile high bank oval. Here, a fictional racetrack, but something is going to make us some terrific pictures here tonight. We'll have it live flag to flag here on DRTV. Thank you to all our viewers out here in YouTube land. My name is Phil Castle. Welcome to my broadcast partners, Todd Stanton, Joe Allen, and Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton. As always, in the DRTV control booth as we make our maiden voyage, the first trip for us here on the DRL Network, over to our friends at Hobo Racing and Todd Stanton. A great event they have here for us tonight, the 2016 version of their Christmas race, and a strong field and a really cool looking little racetrack here tonight in this ASA 90 mod. So I think we're going to be in for one fantastic evening.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic evening in store here over at the Hobo Racing League. First time we've ever visited the Hobo Racing League, but these guys, I tell you what, Phil, warm, welcoming, open arms, everything else that you could imagine here at the Hobo Racing League. These guys fantastic to hang out with. We got a chance to hang out with them. We got a chance to know some of these guys just a little bit here early on in the going this evening. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys pull this race off. A lot of cars out here on the speedway.
Yeah, and it's going to make for a fantastic night here. 250 laps around this 1 mile oval. Joe Allen, I think we're going to be in for a terrific night. A lot of familiar names to us here, but a lot of new faces as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to provide for some great racing tonight, Phil. High banks, fast racetrack around here. Tire wear is going to play into this hugely, and, it's going to put on a great show for all of our viewers out there in YouTube land tonight.
With that being said, we're going to throw it down trackside for the playing of our national anthem. With that being said, that was the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. You can please, now you can sit, ready to start with our starting lineup here with the Hobo Racing League. And now your starting lineup for the 2016 Christmas race here, brought to you by the Hobo Racing League. Starting on the pole, driving the number 6, you're going to see him on the screen as race 555. That is Rich Napick out of Connecticut. On his outside, in the number 13, that's Harry Konani.
Row number 2, we find the number 25 from Ohio. That is Ron Simpson. And to his outside aboard car number 28 from North Carolina. That's Keith McLean.
Rolling off in that 5th position in the number 27, that's Andre Mongeon. And to his outside, rolling off the 6th position in the number 31, that's Jeff Stikanis.
Next row back, starting in the 7th starting position, driving the number 87, that's Ed Lentz. And outside of him, driving the number 51, that's Nebelsick.
Rolling off next will be driver of car number 23. He's going to be on your screen as Maverick. That is Chris Rogers from Texas there aboard the number 23. And to his outside aboard car number 9, that's Jeff Fugate.
Rolling off in the 11th position tonight in the number 59, that's Duke Sorensen. And to his outside, rolling off in the 12th position in that number 81 machine, that's Jordan Prost.
Rolling off 13th tonight will be the driver of car number 12. That is Cal Lovall in the number 12. And to his outside in the 44, That's Bino. That's Dan Rubino.
Rolling off in the 15th position tonight in that number 47 machine, that's Matt Flowers, and to his outside, rolling off in the 16th position, that number 93, known to most of you as Wild Bill, that's William Satzler.
Rolling off tonight from position number 17 aboard car number 85, that is Ricky Bombolo in the 85, and to his outside aboard car number 7, familiar name to us here at DRTV, that's Jerry Walters aboard the 7.
Rolling off in the 19th position tonight in that number 21 machine, that's Steve Rubino, and to his outside, one of the most prominent short track racers here in the Inter 2003 community, that's the number 32 of Bill Kring.
Rolling off tonight in position number 21 from Riverside, Rhode Island, aboard the 710, that familiar 710, that of course is Manny Diaz, and to his outside aboard car number 88. 88 tonight being piloted by, that is,
drivers.
I think it's Larry D aboard the 88.
And rolling off in our 23rd position tonight, piloting that number 36, that's Pat Pilon, and to his outside will be the 11 of Steve Grant.
Rob Keller is going to roll off tonight from deep in the field. I believe that's 25th starter aboard car number 52. And Dupuis in the 24 is going to roll off from the 26th position.
And rounding out our field tonight, that's going to be the number 17 of Bob Becker from California.
So that's your full field starting lineup. Guy, my unofficial count here, I believe that's going to be 26 starters, 27 starters rather, that are going to take the green flag here. The first trip from DRTV over to Hobo Racing for their 2016 annual Christmas race here, the MNRL Speedway, a 1 mile high banked oval here tonight, 250 circuits around, and Todd Stanton, believe we're just about ready to take the green flag. Looks like a DRTV pace van about to make its way onto pit road, and we're going to drop this thing under green flag.
Yeah, Kodiani and Napick, your front row. Kodiani on the outside, and then number 13, Napick is on the bottom side, getting ready to go green flag, racing down the front straightaway here. Flagger has that green flag in hand. He is waving it, and we're racing down the front straightaway here, a mile oval here. It's an interesting track. I know Joe spent a little bit of time out there on this track. Joe, tell us a little bit about this track.
Yeah, guys, it's definitely a high banked oval. It reminds you of Bristol. It's obviously straightaways are a lot longer than the Bristol Motor Speedway, obviously, but you can go in there for the first couple of laps there, Todd, and really hang the throttle down there going through the corner, and it sticks really nicely. Obviously, as the run continues on, it's going to definitely wear up your tires a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys take that into consideration as this run goes on, if we can get some green flag runs here. But Todd, it looks like we had a battle for the lead there as we have a new leader with that number 13 of Harry Kodian. It looks like he went over and took the race lead.
Yeah, Kodiani is now your race leader in that number 13 machine. The number 6 is sitting in that second spot. That's Napick. Napick is sitting in second, so he's doing a pretty good job here early on in the coming down the back straightaway. These guys, short track, not accustomed to it here. It's a really quick pace short track here, 1 mile, like we said, Phil. It's going to be quick here this evening, 250 circuits around this speedway.
Yeah, and these guys in qualifying, Todd, they were clicking off times of under 22 seconds, if you can believe it, at a 1 mile high banked oval. So these guys absolutely just nail it around this place here tonight. So it should make for a very, very lightning fast 250 miles around this MNRL Speedway. It is Harry Kodian with the race lead. Rich Nippick there in the number 6. He's currently in that second spot. Ron Simpson, the 25, currently third. It is Keith McLean fourth, and Andre Monjon, the 27 from Canada. He currently rounds out your top 5. Everybody amongst these top 5, Joe, looked to be just kind of all set out single file around the speedway, but at the lap times these guys were turning here, under 22 seconds at a high banked mile. I mean, that's a tremendous rate of speed. How much do you think tire wear is going to play into a place like this tonight with this high rate of speed and the way these cars seem to be really glued to this racetrack?
Yeah, I think with the amount of grip that they have built into the track here, it's really going to play in and be a factor as the run continues on here, Phil. We're really going to see some extreme tire wear as these guys continue to build heat in the right side of those tires, and it's going to, really shape up for the later on, latter portion of the race, obviously. But, a lot of single file racing, as you touched on a little bit earlier, so not entirely sure that there's a lot of a high line outside that these guys can work on, so that could make passing quite difficult on these earlier runs when most of these guys have those cold tires and they're able to run the bottom here and not really be able to do anything if you have somebody on your outside at least.
Yeah, and just looking out toward the front, Napick there, the number 6, taking the race lead. But the best race on the racetrack appears to her on that 5th position between the 31 Stanakis there and that number 27 machine, of Mongione. Andre in the top side of that yellow car. Stanakis the 31, Todd. He looks to be on the move. Put the Stanakis machine, the 31, up to 5th, and he looks to march forward there as they hit turn 1.
Yeah, he's definitely on the move here, coming up through this pack. Been watching these guys slice and dice their way up through. Ron Simpson is maintaining that 3rd position. We haven't talked much about Ron Simpson either, Phil. Been trying to keep my eye on him. He is methodically trying to save tires aboard that number 25 machine here in that 3rd position. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is all going to play out. These guys, some of these guys that look like they're running that higher lane just a little bit, looks like they're trying to conserve the tires, kind of diving into the corners here.
And you see these guys strung out, basically all single file, all running the middle of the racetrack and diving to the low side here through turns number 3 and 4 here amongst our race leaders here. We're working lap number 10. They're going to put 11 on the board this time by 250 laps to main event distance here tonight. So it's more of an extra distance race here tonight, but the rates these guys are turning for speeds, they're going to clip off awfully quick. So let's see for the first time tonight if we can't bring the 4th member of our team, of course, in the DRTV control booth, and of course that's Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton. Rich, our first trip ever for DRL over to the Hobo Racing League, and these guys have been arms open to us. I know this event came together for us really, really late, kind of at the 11th hour, but these guys have been tremendous to us, and a lot of great information to us, and a great racetrack and combination it looks here tonight. These guys at Hobo, they've certainly done a good job, and I can't wait to see where the rest of the night's going to take us.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more, and this track is just fantastic. I'm glad we get to do a short track for a change. It's a 1 mile track, not real short, but it's short for what we've been used to. And hats off to Steve and the entire crew over here at Hobo Racing. We threw this together very, very quickly. He wanted a later date, and the later date wasn't available for us, so he offered the 15th. We threw our heads together and said, can we pull it off, and threw it together, and literally in less than 2 days we pulled this off, and now we have Hobo Racing here live tonight. So I'm excited. They've got one heck of a track going out here tonight, a great group of looking drivers, and I just love this ASA mod. This is just awesome. A lot of Camaros out here though.
No, it's a fantastic looking mod. I know I got to run this a couple of years ago over at the home base, and tremendous looking mod. The damage model to it's cool. I mean, what a great looking look. I don't know if you could ask for better than this. And of course, you think ASA Racing, the American Speed Association. You think short track racing with these big extra distance races like 250 miles here at MNRL tonight, Todd Stanton. So I think it's going to be a tremendous evening here. And through the first 15 laps, these guys have certainly been up to the billing. There's the front of the field, Napick of the number 6 starting to pull away just a little bit from Cody in the 13, and they've opened up a gap between those 3rd place cars, so the leader's starting to pull away, but there's some great racing throughout this field as you get outside the top 5.
Yeah, great racing throughout the field here. I've been watching some of the battles. I heard Rich, and I'm trying to get back to there as quickly as I can to see. There was a nice battle around 14th with the number 7 of Jerry Walters. Walters had a huge battle going on. I believe it was the 44 machine, and there was a couple others involved. Rich was saying that, but the 7 of Jerry Walters right now sitting in that 13th position, but having one whale of a battle with that number 44 machine.
No, he certainly is. Jerry moves the 7 machine now up to position number 7. But Joe Allen, you look at the interval Jerry has, behind our race leader, it's 2.3 seconds. He's got clear sailing in front of him, but with the tremendous amount of grip the racetrack appears to have tonight, with this tremendous rate of speed, has Jerry let the field get away too far at this point, or does he have enough time here with 20 laps on the board to maybe run these guys down on this first fuel and tire run?
Oh, I think we have a lot of time left here, Phil. Jerry's always been predominant for his tire-saving abilities, and all the multitude of leagues that we've kind of followed him around, and he's appeared here on DRTV. But you know what? It's still early on in this run, and it's still early on in the race too. Let's keep in mind that this is a 250-lap race around this 1 mile oval, so it's definitely going to shape up a little bit later on into the event, obviously. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it early on at this point, Phil. I mean, he's got a lot of time to make up ground, and you never know what guys are using up their tires more than some of the other guys out here. So we could see some players come along at the later portion of this run here that will come up here and challenge these leaders. I mean, we see the number 6 of Napick, and then that number 13 of Cody Yan. They've pulled ahead by almost a second here, but they might not be in that position as we get to the later portion of this run before green flag pit stops, Phil.
Yeah, so something that we'll definitely have to keep an eye on. Not quite through a halfway of a fuel run here yet. I believe we were looking at 45 to 50 laps on a fuel and tires from these guys here at MNRL Speedway tonight. So as these guys parade around the racetrack, 22 circuits going on the board. You know, one of the drivers here, these guys are Hobo, very, very proud of, and probably, you know, the oldest member of the community. That is Wild Bill, the number 93, currently out there on the speedway in the 15th position, if you can believe it. 86 years young, out here on the speedway, parading around with these guys. And our friends at Hobo Racing tonight, they got their own little video tribute to Wild Bill. So I'm going to throw that down to Rich here. I believe we're going to just take a quick commercial break, and we're going to let our friends at Hobo and all of us here at DRL Network, let's pay our tribute here to Wild Bill.
In 1992, when Bill Satzler retired from the railroad industry, his grandkids bought him a computer. First thing he said was, "I'll never touch it." That was until they got him NASCAR 1 and the Thrustmaster wheel, and now a day doesn't go by that he isn't racing. Now he goes by Wild Bill online, and he resides in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. Bill just had a birthday back on March 3rd, as a matter of fact, his 78th. Probably makes Bill one of the oldest racers online. Bill's been into racing for a long time, as you can see from these pictures with him and his brothers. They won numerous track championships in these karts, as a matter of fact. Bill was also the owner of both of these micro sprint cars, and Randy, in the number 5, won several championships. Since 1994, Bill has been able to do his racing from the comfort of his home. He's still currently racing in a couple of NASCAR 2003 leagues, one of them at Hobo Racing. Matter of fact, he just got a second at Martinsville, of all places. He's been racing non-stop since he hooked up that Thrustmaster and loaded up NASCAR 1. Every car Wild Bill runs has Claudette's name on the rear as his motor sponsor. She's his wife for 55 years.
And there you have it, race fans. That's the story on Wild Bill, as you can see right now in the 93, making his rounds, currently sitting back in 15th. And keep in mind, that video that Hobo Racing released out for us was made in 2011, so he's 86 years old now. So hats off to Wild Bill, guys.
No, absolutely hats off to Wild Bill. 86 years young, out there on the speedway with, you know, all the veterans out here at Hobo. Hobo been here for a long time, and if we get the benefit of some downtime here in a little while, we'll definitely talk to Steve Rubino and let him fill all our viewers in on all the background and history of Hobo Racing. Todd, Hobo is one of these groups that's been around this community for a long, long time. I think better than 10 years now that Hobo has been a part of the NASCAR Racing 2-on-3 community. You don't hear an awful lot from them, but it's certainly a great league. They do a lot of great racing here 3 nights a week, and a very, very loyal core. And you know, you can tell by talking to these guys here during pre-race as we did, you know, a great bunch of guys looking for a place to race. Check the guys out of Hobo Racing, Todd, and so far, through these first 28 laps, it's been fantastic racing out on the speedway. You know, it's a short track, so obviously they're going to fan out a little bit, you know, log laps on their tires, especially with a 250-lap event here in front of us. But these guys at Hobo Racing, Todd, they've been up to the challenge, and what a great racing league. Can't promote these guys enough here tonight.
Yeah, fantastic racing league. We got all the tools that we got. We put this together, like Rich was saying, in a couple of days. And yet we're here live on the air, and fantastic racing here in store for us. I've been looking up and down these guys, Phil, and we're looking at lap times. The best lap comparison to like the last lap comparison. The fastest lap of the race was made by the Jersey Hick, Steve Rubino, in that number 21 machine, and he has had the fastest lap all race. Right now he sits at a 22.617, almost a second slower than his best lap of the race, which was a 21.670. So look how fast these tires, 31 laps into this race, how fast those tires have just worn.
Yeah, we have a yellow flag on the speedway, guys. Yellow flag for the first time tonight. Not sure what transpired here around this very fast 1 mile racetrack. I'm not sure if you got to look at it, Joe Allen, what happened there, but now, nonetheless, for the first time tonight, we're going to see the van out on the racetrack, not seeing anything as far as anybody pointing in the wrong direction. So I'm not sure if, Joe, if you get any guidance there to add, but I'm certainly not seeing nothing of foul on this end.
Yeah, still looking around, Phil. I haven't quite found anything yet. We're looking for pillars of smoke and a little bit behind on trying to see if we can find it. So nothing yet on the racetrack that we can see, but as always, the man downstairs, Rich, he's got the eagle eye. He'll find it, and we'll get it up on the screen for you guys when he's ready for that. But, you know, we were able to get through about 32 laps on that green flag run there, Phil. Looks like we were getting ready to shape up for some green flag pit stops. We saw the 6 of Rich Napick actually begin to put a little bit of a gap between himself and that number 13 of Harry Codian. And they had already gapped the third place driver by about a second and a half at least. So they were starting to put some serious distance between themselves. We saw some great tire conservation by some of those guys up front to be able to keep themselves up there. And, you know, something that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier as we get down to some pit stops here on pit road that we'll cover in a little bit. But we didn't see a whole lot of passing as the run went on. We thought we might have been able to see a little bit of passing as the tires started to wear down, but it appeared it just kept getting more difficult. And, I think something that we'll have to watch out for tonight as well, guys, is some we like to call them Darlington stripes for you race fans out there, but this could potentially be something that comes into play here as well with how badly these tires wear on the banking that's at this racetrack, that we could potentially see some Darlington-like stripes on the right-hand side of these cars.
No, at these high speeds, Joe, I think you hit that right on the head. It could run more like a Darlington, the way these guys are just parading around here at these high speeds around MNRL Speedway tonight. Less than 23 seconds a lap here on, or less than 22 seconds a lap, I should say, on new tires, and right around that 23-second lap even mark here on the 30-lap old tires and stuff. So certainly tire wear going to be the name of the game here tonight. We'll have to see where this is going to take us here in these next 200 and so circuits. But for the first time tonight, we're under the yellow flag here on DRTV, the Hobo Racing 2016 Christmas race. And as Joe said, the Eagle Eye, Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, I believe he's ready with the replay. And Rich, you found something out on the racetrack for us.
Yeah, guys, keep in mind, short track racing, things happen kind of quick, and this one happened really quick. It was tough to find, but we were able to get through and find it. We're going to keep our eyes on the number 12 machine of Laval, and it looks like he made a little bit of contact with the 44 of Rubino also. We're going to play this through in slow motion as they come off the corner. Rubino bounces it off the wall, down into the 12. It's going to send the 12 sideways. Rubino back up against the wall in the 44. Both of them just locking up their brakes, flat spotting some tires, trying to keep their car clean. Looks like everybody else was able to get around it. And with realistic damage, it looks like Laval is probably going to be the worst of that one. And hopefully Rubino can go ahead and get them tires replaced and get back in the mix of this thing, guys. Back up to you.
All right, that's the play from the booth there. Is Rich, as always, Johnny on the spot. He always finds what happens out there if it's real quick like that one was. And something that, we all went back scrolling through ourselves trying to see, was this one of those phantom debris cautions? And no, of course, Richard, all the tools and the tricks down there, finds us with the replay. But one thing he touched on here tonight, Todd, that we didn't touch a lot on here in the pre-races, we were quick to get on the air and get this thing under green flag conditions with the amount of laps we have on our hands. But short track racing with realistic damage and with the high rates and the RPMs these guys are turning at MNRL, how much you think that realistic damage wears in the back of your mind is you're really going to take care of your race car at a place like this when you're turning these alarming high speeds?
I'll get to that thought here in just a moment as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here at MNRL Speedway. Once again, your race leader is that number 6 machine. He's getting of Nabik. He's getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Green flag is in the air. Cody Annie in that number 13 machine. He is running in second. Keith McLean is running third. Fourth is that number 31 machine. He's trying to work his way up through the field. The number 6 machine right now is your current race leader, about 2 car lengths advantage over Cody Annie.
Yeah, we've seen him, Joe, on this last run, the number 6 of Rich Napick there. He was able to take off and run and hide on 30-lap old tires. So we'll see what Cody Ann, McLean, and all these guys up near the top 5 of the field can do to keep Rich in sight here as he works his way down toward turn number 3 now. 37 laps up on the board, but that number 6, Rich, Joe, he's been really, really fast out here tonight. So far through that first run, looks to be maybe the most dominant car on the racetrack, and we'll have to see what these guys like Harry and and Keith and Jeff Stanakis on 31, and see if maybe these guys, maybe ride around a little bit, or they try to keep these speeds up to maybe keep that number 6 car in sight. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, definitely on rails out there, I'd say. Phil himself and that number 13 of Cody Ann are both out there up front, just really putting a hurt into the rest of the field out here as we see a battle for third here now between the 31 and it looks like the 28. The 31 is going to make that pass. Is now the 9 of Jeff Hugate's actually going to get underneath him as well, Phil. He's going to clear that pass as well. So see a couple more guys that haven't really been up front a whole lot in this race from what it appears. They're starting to make their way forward too to see if maybe they can challenge these 2 guys that have really been dominant out front. So good to see new faces up there. It'll be interesting to see if these guys can kind of keep the tires on it and keep the fenders clean, Phil, and maybe go up there and challenge these guys and see if they can hang with them.
Now we'll certainly see as there's 40 laps of 250 on the board. It's Rich Napick in the number 6, your race leader. Harry Cody Yan is currently second. Jeff Stanakis, the 31, currently third. Jeff Fugate is fourth. Keith McLean on the number 28. He's dropped back to the 5th spot. The 6th position, the 25 of Ron Simpson, Todd Stanton. We saw Ron up in the top 3 here through the first 30 laps, and looks like he's just content to ride in line on that 6th spot right now. Do you think that's maybe a part of an adjustment to these guys in front of him? Maybe a little bit of track position, or is Ron just saving his stuff back there in that 25 car?
I think Ron Simpson is back there in that sixth position, just riding around, saving his stuff a little bit. He was doing the same thing in third when he was running in third. Stakanis right now is in that third spot where Ron Simpson was, but it looks like Stakanis was going to actually be able to make some passes here. I thought he was going to be able to challenge these top two cars, but he's not able to close the gap between himself and Cody Ann and Navik in that number 6 machine. So we're going to have to wait and see if he's got anything maybe later on in the run. It just seems like these guys right now, the top two, have been able to just pull away and try to run away and hide and drive off into the sunset. Does anybody else in the field right now have anything to show, or is it too early for them to show their cards that they have?
I'm not exactly sure if it's too early to show the cars they got, or if those guys at the front of the field are just going to be, what we're going to see here through the event, here tonight. 250 laps is a long race. But if anybody knows any history about the American Speed Association, these extra distance races in the ASA mod, they generally with 250 laps to 300 laps in distance around the short tracks. And the way in the name, and of course the ASA short track series, has been extinct for a couple of years now. But if you go back to the early 90s and through the 90s and maybe the early 2000s even, you saw a lot of those extra distance races, were very minimal green flag racing, but it looked just like this. These guys strung out in a single file pack, strung out all over this mile-long MNRL Speedway, and it's a long extra distance race here, Joe Allen. So you think these guys probably out there, just taking care of their equipment. In order to win one of these things, you've got to make it to the end. And with 200 laps to go, that's a lot of circuits around here at these high rates of speed they're doing. And you got to do all you can to save and manage your stuff. And, I think that's the name of the game here tonight. It could be in a war of attrition, but, of course, with the high speeds these guys are turning, the big lap times, these guys probably going to think twice and maybe think about conserving their equipment some.
I would definitely agree with that. As I was running around out there in happy hour, it was kind of logging some laps so we can give you guys a little bit of better insight. It's very draft dependent as well, which seems very strange for having a mile-long track, but with the high speeds that these guys are turning, you actually rely a lot on the draft to be able to keep yourself up with the rest of the field. So, and especially looking at this realistic damage that these guys are running, Phil, it really makes it even that much more important, because anybody that has run this sim before knows that realistic damage is very touchy as far as any contact you make with another vehicle or the wall. It has a huge impact on how the car handles and what it wants to do for the remainder of the race. So trying to keep those fenders on these race cars for this 250-mile race is really going to be imperative to guys being able to keep themselves up front if they get there, and be able to even clear passes, some of the more simpler things that you need to do to be successful in a series like this. So I think you definitely hit it on the nail. While it is a race of attrition with it being 250 miles around here, it also has to do a lot with keeping the fenders on the car. So you hit it on the head, Phil.
Well, unfortunately, under the yellow flag now for the second time tonight, and I believe Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, ready with a replay. We were talking about conserving those fenders and keeping them on the car, but Rich looks like two cars having contact on the racetrack, and one going to walk away from this wreck, none the worse for wear, with some heavy rear end damage. So let's start with you with the replay.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm going to keep our eyes on the 24 of Dupuis as he gets into this corner. Looks like he makes a little bit of contact. It's very, very close. Not sure if there's contact there or not, but the body boxes on these cars obviously touch. That's going to send him up into the wall. Hits the rear end of his car hard into the wall. Meanwhile, everybody else is able to get around. It doesn't look like anybody else is going to be involved in this. Everybody else was able to keep their car straight. But tough break for Dupuis in the 24. Looks like he's going to have heavy rear damage, guys. Back up to you.
All right, so under yellow flag for the second time tonight, just about to put 50 laps up on the board. 250 laps, the main event distance tonight for DRL's maiden voyage over to our friends at Hobo Racing for their 2016 edition of their Christmas race, and an awesome event on hand indeed. These great, great looking race cars tonight. The ASA 90 mod that's been very popular to us here in the NR 2003 community. Just a beautiful, beautiful looking mod, and a fantastic look on the racetrack. But Rich, I believe you've got a couple of sponsor plugs here tonight. These guys at Hobo did such a great job getting us on the air short notice, and I believe we got a presenting sponsor here tonight. I believe that's Apple Garage Door. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So let's take a moment and listen to a word from Apple Garage Doors.
When it comes to keeping up with maintenance on their homes, most homeowners overlook the heaviest moving object in the home, their garage door. At Apple Door Systems, we can not only fix your garage door, but we also offer our Gold Star annual maintenance plan to make sure it's operating properly and safely. This ensures that your garage door will last for years to come.
Call Appledore today or visit us online at appledore.com.
We're Apple Door Systems. Give your home a grand entrance.
Welcome back to MNRL Speedway here for the 2016 rendition of the Christmas race here at the Hobo Racing League. Trying to figure out, trying to look down through this chat box, and I've been looking, and everybody down here in the chat box. Chat box has been pretty interactive down here in YouTube, as I'm not used to bringing it back from commercial like everybody else. But I want to give a shout out to everybody here in the chat box. It's been pretty active here down there. I see Eddie Lee down there. Joe Allen, of course, is down there. He's always down in the chat box, whether he's announcing or not. Phil, of course, is down in the chat box talking with you guys. You got Bob Tompkins Sr. down there. You got Barb down there. Dorothy. You got. I'm trying to figure out who else is down there, but SBP, of course, J-Rock, always a huge fan, along with Bob down in that chat box. Van has pulled off, getting ready to go back to racing here once again. This time setting the pace, and I don't have his name, but Tango is setting the pace. Green flags in the air, and one whale of a start. Wow, that's a start and a half.
Oh, that certainly was an interesting start indeed. It looked like it was the 59 that was Tango there on your screen that was going to restart with a race lead, but now I'm not so certain that after timing and scoring has reset. It's now the 36 of Pilon, Patrick Pilon, the 36. He's going to be scored your race leader. He's got the front of the field now. He's got the lead over the 9 of Fugate, the 13 of Cody Ann. He's been able to make his way now back up to that second spot. We know Harry's been fast in that 13 all night long, Joe Allen, and he is on the move, but chasing our new race leader, looks like it's going to be the 36. Oh, no, that's Fugate, the number 9. He's currently out front.
Yeah, Phil, we saw, it looked like we had one guy that stayed out on the racetrack there. I'm not sure that he went down pit road, so he tried to get himself out there for an advantage at least to see if maybe he could pull away, and that didn't really work out. We saw the 9 of Jeff Fugate. Looks like he took 2 tires on pit road. I saw the 13. He's been a familiar face. Cody Ann up there, he took 4 tires. He's just resumed the lead back from the number 9 of Fugate. And our previous race leader, that number 6 of Napick, he actually had some problems on pit road under this latest caution. Looks like he overshot his pit stall, guys, and had to end up backing that car back into his pit stall, and it took a whole lot of extra time, so he's mired back in the 6th position right now. So a little bit of a shakeup up at the front of the field, but we saw that very strong number 13 of Cody Ann. He managed to get himself back out into the race lead here, out from behind the tire tracks of that number 6, who he had been following for the majority of the night up to this point. So who knows? Let's see what that car's like out in clean air, guys. It could be a whole lot better than what we saw earlier on when he was kind of mired behind the 6.
Well, yeah, absolutely right, Joe. I think you've hit that one just right there. The 13 of Cody and out front. He was there. He was the second fastest car on the racetrack through much of these first 50 laps. Sort of Rich Napick of the number 6 having the race lead. But, you know, as they say, Todd Stanton, sometimes you're going to capitalize on mistakes of your competition. And Rich having that hiccup on pit road, that's allowed Harry to restart near the front of this field, and he's asserted his way forward now with 57 laps up on the board. Harry's really, really strong at number 13. He's starting to drive away from this field just a little bit.
Yeah, Cody Ann's had a strong car all evening long with that number 13 machine. We're 6 trying to make his way back up through, and the door's been wide open. It looks like McLean's been leaving the door wide open to try to have him scoot inside the top 5 once again. He's not able to do so here through the corner. So the 6 right now on the outside looking in out of the top 5. Mistake is costly, but we're going to have to see what's going to happen. It looks like now McLean coming down, trying to pass for that 4th position. McLean going to go to the 4th around Ron Simpson.
Yeah, as we see a great battle up here within the top 5 guys, between those guys in the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th position here. As I'm looking back through the field as well, it looks like we got a big wreck down the back straightaway, actually. That's going to bring out our, our 3rd or 4th caution of the evening. And, you know, with that realistic damage, Phil, that's going to probably ruin a lot of guys' nights. And I was actually, while we let Rich go down there and figure out what's going on with that big accident on the backstretch, I was actually going to check on our individual who started in the race lead, and that was the number 36 of Pat Pilon. He had actually fell back all the way to the 14th position from that race lead. So we did see that, you know, those old tires not pitting under caution there when you have 20 some odd laps on your tires. I think that's how long our last green flag run was there, Phil. Definitely pays dividends. That's what we saw as a result of that. So, hey, no better time than to try and do it early on in the race and see if it's worthy of maybe trying to pull some strategy at the end. But unfortunately, it didn't work out too well for that number 36 of Pelon.
No, certainly didn't. He free fall through the field. You said outside the top 10, but we had a multiple car wreck on the backstretch there, Rich Pat, and I think you're going to have a pretty spectacular replay to show here. Maybe some cars for the first time we maybe see going airborne and maybe up through the catch fence. Is that right?
Yeah, man, this is like super speedway caution stuff. Just unbelievable. You know, these guys are flying around this 1 mile track. We're going to keep our eyes on the 710 of Manny Diaz right there behind Wild Bill. Looks like Wild Bill's going to get a little bit loose in the corner as we run this out. Might have had a little bit of help from Manny Diaz right there. That's going to send Wild Bill around. But guess what? Manny Diaz goes around as well. And oh my goodness, Manny Diaz is up in the air. Car engine exploded. Unbelievable. Stress testing the catch fence. You can see the 24 is also around. Wild Bill's also around. As we move this camera down a little bit earlier, if we can get up there, the 59 is way up over the wall. Look at him on the right side of your screen. Unbelievable. We'll go ahead and move this camera up a little bit more because it looked like there was a lot more cars involved in this. As we see Manny Diaz there, the 24 Rubino also in there, Bumbaloo on there as well, bunch of guys involved. So tough break for these guys. I believe Manny Diaz is out of the event. Guys, how many other cars did we lose from this one? That was spectacular.
It looks like this one is at least going to claim 3, Rich, here through the initial wreck. Manny Diaz looks like his night is going to be done. Also, Duke Sorensen, you know, is on our screen as Tango, but he certainly was doing the foxtrot tonight here. Looks like that 59 is going to be out behind the wall. And also the 47 of Matt Flowers. Looks like the 47 damaged way too severe to continue. So it looks like those 3 drivers tonight is going to end prematurely there, Todd Stanton. And as Rich said, we're turning these big speeds at MNRL here tonight. You know, we're short track racing, but that almost had that look of a Savage super speedway crash, and it certainly did. And you know, you usually don't see a crash on a short track claim 3 drivers like that, but unfortunately for these guys with the high speeds and realistic damage, got 3 drivers out of the event, and far too soon for that, and tough break for those guys.
Oh yeah, you're using all the momentum off this banking, and it just makes it. We can call this a mini super speedway. It's a short track super speedway. It's kind of like my local dirt track. They say it's a long. They say it's a long 3/10 mile. This is a little bit longer than that. It's a mile long, but it's got the makings of a super speedway. Napic right now is your current race leader. So Napic did stay out or take. I mean, he took 2 tires out on pit road, I believe. The 7 of Jerry Walters now also out there in that second spot. So Walters, who was around 13th position, now is running in that second position. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. Now you got Cody Ann in the 4th position. So can Cody Ann make some passes and make his way back to the number 6 machine of Napic? We're going to have to just wait and see. Napic was mired in traffic around that 6th position. So, and it was really, really hard for him to get around some of these guys. Paceman taking that hard left-hand turn down to pit road one more time. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing here in the MNRL Speedway race here for the 2016 rendition of the Christmas 2016 Christmas races. I had an itch, and I was trying to get rid of it, but the number 6 green flag is in the air once again, and Napic out to about a car length and a half lead over the number 7 of Jerry Walters.
Yeah, the car length lead over that number 7 of Jerry Walters there. Todd getting an itch. I think you may want to get a little bit of powder and do whatever you got to do. I'm not sure how you develop the itch, but we don't really need to know that. So let Todd get all sorted out there as we turn our attention back to the Speedway. 65 laps in. Green flag here on the restart. The 6 of Rich Napic, you know, was our pole sitter, our early race leader. He's reassumed the race lead. Jerry Walters, the number 7. He is all over his back bumper, Joe Allen. Jerry may be looking for running room here. He may be a contender here for the race lead in a lap or so as they work off turn 4.
I completely agree. We see the 6 of Napic and the 7 of Walters both stayed out under this last caution, so they're on about 3 or 4 lap older tires than most of these guys behind them, but still showing their speed and dominance up front as those 2 guys are looking for all the room in the world to keep their cars out front. But still not seeing anybody that can do anything with that number 6 when he's out front, Phil. But you know, we see the 31. He's made his presence in the top 5 known. We see the 13. He's up there trying to get himself back up at least into that top 2 and see if he can maybe battle with that number 6 again. But it'll be interesting to see how these guys can hang on to this. I know they got 3 or 4 lap older tires than some of these guys behind him. So as the run progresses on, it'll be interesting to see if these guys that are mired back in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th position, if they can do anything with these guys as we get down to that stage of the race at least.
Yeah, and I'm just checking in with you guys up there in the booth. I know I'm down here in the control panel trying to keep things running, but I'm also keeping eyes on the chat box in YouTube. And big hats off to Dorothy. I know she's watching the race out here. She says she got so excited watching the race, she was going to ask if everybody was all right. And we like to kid these drivers once in a while, too. So we would be concerned about the 59 as well, since he did get airborne. Another guy out there in the chat box, I believe it was Eddie Lee's, wanting to know if the 59 had a flat flight path okayed by the local airport tower. We're going to have to check in with him a little bit later to see if he did that or not, but he certainly got some air. Keep in mind, guys, in the chat box, we're keeping tabs on that. Anything you want to give a big shout out for, I am keeping an eye on, just as a caution. Looks like it just happened. I'll throw it back up to you guys. And welcome again, race fans, to watch this spectacular show tonight.
Yeah, and a wild collision here happening through the east end of the speedway in turn number 3. Looked like there was contact between the Cody Ann machine and the number 7 of Jerry Walters. Looked like Jerry made hard contact with the outside wall top stand. Not sure how much damage that 7 machine is going to have, but you know, these cars are the very, very lightest as they are as they go into the entrance of these corners of these high speeds. You know, looks like not sure if there was much in the way of severe contact, but it was certainly just enough to send Jerry out of shape. And you know, looks like that 7 car may have some heavy damage, Todd. It may be terminal.
Yeah, that 7 car is behind the wall. They're pushing him behind the wall. So terminal damage on that number 7 of Jerry Walters accident. The car was too much for the crews to fix out there on the speedway. Jerry Walters was having a good run. That was right around the 3rd position as Cody Ann was trying to get around him. So we're going to wait and let you see the replay as Rich now has the replay queued up and ready for everybody down there in YouTube land. Rich, show everybody what happened.
Yeah, we're going to keep the cameras on the 7. Tough break for Jerry Walters. This is going to finish his night a little bit earlier as he makes a little bit of contact with Cody Ann. We're going to keep this running in slow motion as they come down the front stretch. Looks like they're getting ready to go into the corner. Looks like Walters may have came down a little low. Not sure if Cody Ann came up, but they made contact right there on the right front corner of Cody Ann. That's going to send the 7 backwards into the wall hard. Unbelievable damage on the rear end of that car. Keep in mind, guys, that these guys are running realistic damage. So hits like that, it's not a shock that he's going to be out of the event. As you can see, a couple more cars slide down below to get through here on the bottom. Tough break for Jerry Walters. I believe that finishes his night, guys. Back up to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jerry Walters, one of the heavy hitters here through the first half of this race. And that number 7 worked his way from outside the top 5, qualifying well into the top 5, and was a contender for this race lead, Joe Allen. But unfortunately for Jerry, looks like with that contact, his night is going to be over. That car pushed behind the wall, and it's officially going to be retired from the event. And unfortunately for Jerry, having a great run, I'm sure he's not going to be too thrilled with coming home tonight with a 24th place finish. And certainly a sad thing to see is we know Jerry's a good guy. We followed him up and down this community through many, many different leagues, and one of the cleanest guys out there, a very, very nice gentleman. And it's certainly too bad to see him out of this event so early on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Jerry. Just got caught up in a little bit of an accident going down there into turn 1. Had a really fast car once he finally got himself up there, Phil. So feel bad for that team and that driver for that to happen. But I think I caught up with him in the garage real quick, guys. And Jerry, you know, tough break out there, buddy. Just looks like you got a little bit of contact with that number 13 going down into turn 1 with Cody Ann. What'd you see from your perspective out there, bud?
It looked like he may have warped into me a little bit because I watched the replay. It looked like the car jumped up on me, but, you know, that's the way it goes, racing.
Yeah, it looked like hard racing. You finally got yourself up there on it. Looked like a little bit of strategy. You stayed out on that prior caution. Did you think you had anything for the 6 out there? We saw the 6 been real dominant for most of the night. We saw you kind of got mired back in traffic there early on, but looked like finally once you got yourself up there, you were really able to hang with the leaders and be able to put down some fast lap times and, you know, kind of position yourself to set yourself up for a good run here for the latter part of the race.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I started in the back and I made it to the front, and I was going to try to hang on right there in the top 5 till I could get another pit stop and get some fresh tires, and I believe I had something for them.
Yeah, well, unfortunate end of your night, Jerry. We're sorry about it, but if you want real quick, I'll hand you the mic. Anybody out there that was watching tonight, any sponsors you want to thank real quick?
Yeah, I want to thank Hobo Racing for putting this on. They're a bunch of good guys and a lot of good racers in this league, and you guys for broadcasting it, Phil, Todd, and the rest of the gang, and that's it. I think I got a brother watching, so hope he at least got to see me for a little while.
All right, guys. Well, that's Jerry Walters' unfortunate event for him. So the green flag is out now. The 81, that is the 81 of Jordan Prost. He actually took us back to green flag here, guys. We saw the 25. That is Ron Simpson. He took 2 tires under this latest caution. We saw the 27 of Andre Mongeon. He was also a 2-tire pit stop under this latest caution. First guy on 4 tires is that number 6 of Napick. He's the first one that took 4 tires on this latest stop, and it looks like we're back under caution here again. So definitely a mix-up of strategy here where we see, looks like the 81 guys, he stayed out under this latest caution. We see 2 guys on 2 tires, and the rest of the field are on 4 tires. So definitely a large, massive strategy here that has really kind of changed the complexion of some of these cars that have been running in the top 10 that we're not really familiar with seeing up here tonight so far.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cars involved in this event, and definitely a lot of things that have been happening. They happen so quick on this mile track. I can't even describe how fast these guys are going around this track. It's just amazing speeds around this track, and realistic damage plays a big role. Just a little bit of contact, wrong contact to this wall, and there is no safer barriers on this track. It's all concrete, and you fight these walls, and they're just going to win. They're going to tear your car apart, and unfortunately, Rob Keller, another one, retired from this event, the number 52. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, who's going to show what happened to end Rob Keller's night and to hurt some of the other guys.
Yeah, most definitely camera's going to keep on the 52 of Rob Keller as we kind of play this out through full speed, and we'll put it into slow motion once we see what starts to happen here. We're going to slow it down right there. It looks like he's going to get into the corner. Might have had a little help, but whatever happened, the rear end starts coming around on that car, and he cannot save it. He's going to spin it up towards the back end of the track, or up to the top side of the track, bounce it off the wall, bringing it back down. All of a sudden, there's another one. That car looked like it just went through it, but he actually hit him, and he goes for a spin. Keller is going in the washing machine, spinning. The 85's there. You see Wild Bill on the left, and the 93 also spinning from that reaction as well. I believe that's there is the 12 that's able to brake hard and get under the Keller machine. But a tough break for Rob Keller in the 52. Looks like his night is over as well. Back up to you guys.
All right, so that's a story down from the DRTV control booth. Great job by Rich Patton, as always, down there night after night here on DRTV. If it's a race we scheduled out months in advance, or like this one on 2 or 3 days notice, getting everything put together down there. Rich is always doing great justice here on the DRL network with a great replay, and hats off to all these guys at Hobo Racing here tonight, getting this great event together here for us. All the information at our fingertips here, and more than prepared for all of us here to come here tonight to Hobo Racing for our first time and do the bang-up job that we normally do. But while we're under the caution flag, looks like we get an extended one. Let's see if we can't talk to the owner of Hobo Racing, that being our friend Mr. Steve Rubino. Steve, it's Phil from DRTV, buddy. You have a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Steve, so far through the first 78 laps, we've seen some awesome racing out there. We've been mired now. I believe that was caution flag number 5. But tell us how the racing has been so far out there. You guys are really booking around this place.
Yeah, it's a fast track, and we had a driver's meeting before the race explaining how fast the track is. But we actually weren't expecting this many yellows, but yeah, they're racing hard.
Well, Steve, I know you guys have the lights out on the Pace Fan, so real quick, as the owner of Hobo Racing, give our viewers out there, because it's the first time for us with DRTV over to Hobo Racing, tell everybody out there in YouTube land where they can find you guys to get a hold of you, all the great racing you guys do here.
HoboRacing.com is we do everything from the website. We're on Facebook too, but the website is where you could join and see all the stats, and everything's on the website. Hobo Racing.
All right, well, Steve Rubino, thanks for a couple of words here. I'd love to talk to you longer, but I want to get you back up to the race channel, let you get back to it. But good luck to the rest of the night, my friend, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you here again before this night is through. So thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Well, that was Hobo Racing League over Steve Rubino. Always a wonderful show that they put on over here at Hobo Racing, as we see the DRTV Pace Fan is taking that hard left turn down pit road. That 81 is going to get us back under green here. That 81 of Jordan Prost, he's going to take us under green as that 25 and the 27 are in tow. Then we see the 6 of Napick. He's back there in the 4th position here, guys. So huge jump for that 81 on the restart here. Got himself out to at least a 3-car length advantage as they dive down into turn 3 here, Phil. And, we see some new faces up here. Not sure how the two-tire strategy is going to work. I don't think I really saw anybody come down pit road under this last caution here. We only ran not even a lap after we had made our last round of pit stops here. So definitely some new faces up here. Not sure how long they can keep that hot rod machine of the number 6 back there, but it'll be interesting to see how long it takes him to really clear these guys and maybe assert his dominance and get himself back out front, because I don't think he's going to be back there for very long.
No, I certainly agree with that as well. We know that 6 has been fast all night long, but it's Jordan Probst in that number 81 out through the race leading out there with about 8 or 9 car lengths there on our second place runner, the 25 of Ron Simpson. So can the 81 run off in high on that tire strategy? And I think you hit on it, Joe. If there was no better time than now here with maybe just about half a lap on a heat cycle here, is we saw through that first run, the first 30-lap green flag run we had, the tires fell off almost a full second on that run. So certainly I think this was a time to do that with the amount of caution we've had. And just as we say that, maybe the track position wears off again, because I believe yellow flag once again on the speedway, Todd Stan.
And not sure who else was involved in it. I believe the 36 might have been involved in that. I believe the 36. Patrick Pilon is actually involved into this wreck. I believe I seen him around and slowing down towards the apron. Maybe he was just missing that wreck, but I believe the 36 was involved. A couple other cars may have been involved with some contact, but that's all I seen on the track. It was real quick, and I have not got back to review the replay. That's what Rich does down there in that booth. He's going to show all the fans down in YouTube land what happened.
All right, so we'll get Rich Pat here a couple of minutes to get that replay all sorted out, as things happening really quick here at a fast 1 mile track, Joe Allen, like this MNRL Speedway. And that, as they say, caution breeding cautions, and they're happening fast here, and it's keeping all of us on our toes. But tough break for these guys. We saw the first 30 laps go mainly caution free, but these guys certainly having hiccups here in these last 50 laps. Is I believe this may be the 6th yellow flag of the night. So these guys may just have to settle down for a little while and maybe sort it out and maybe run some laps.
Yeah, definitely, and you kind of hit it on the head as far as the old mnemonic, cautions breed cautions, and especially at a fast mile track like we have here at the MNRL Speedway, that's definitely really showing its true colors. But at the same time, as much as we hate to see cautions, and I know as much as those guys hate to run around here under caution, it sure does make for a strategy-built type of race where we see a bunch of guys on different strategies that are trying to do different things. I know we see a couple of the leaders that came down pit road this time by, but we saw some of the front leaders that also stayed out on those older 5 or 6 lap tires now, Phil. So it definitely leads to some different strategy calls for some of these guys, and we see, so we're going to go ahead and throw it down to Rich Patton. We're under our 6th caution, and he's going to show us why.
Yeah, guys, we're going to keep our eyes on the 51, Nebelzik. It looks like things went wrong for him. The 36, as well as you were mentioning earlier, Todd. The 36 actually got spun out trying to avoid the 51. We're going to keep the cameras on the 51 as he gets loose right there. He's going to bounce it off the inside wall pretty hard. That's going to send him back up onto the track, nose into the outside wall. You're going to see the 36 go by right there. He gets tail slapped a little bit. 36 is going to spin it up into the wall as well. But now you can see Nebelzik's got all kinds of damage on the rear end of that car as well. Hit the front, hit the back, been tagged in the back by another car. Tough break for that 51 machine, guys. Back up to you.
All right, yeah, tough break, as you said, for the 51. He'll get that point in the right direction, put 4 tires on it. Hopefully not too much damage left for the 51. Looks like he certainly took a hard hit toward that back end, but I'm not sure at a place like this, Todd, how much damage, the damage to that rear end, how much is that going to affect the handling of that race car at the high speeds returning here tonight?
Sorry about that, Phil. A little bit of miscommunication. Saw you threw it to Joe, but obviously I wasn't listening and comprehending. Maybe I just fell asleep once again. I've been having some kind of sleep disorder or something. I just don't understand what's going on right now. But I know you were talking about the rear end damage. I did hear that much on that 51. And that's going to loosen those cars up quite a bit, in my belief, because the spoiler is going to be up in the air. I've had a lot of rear end damage, especially with these realistic damages, and it should loosen it up. I don't know how well it's going to handle out there. Joe got to take many laps out here to see what was going on with this track, but I'm not sure if that's a benefit or not.
Yeah, we'll kind of touch on that in just a little bit as we see the DRTV van take that sharp left-hand turn down pit road again, guys. This time around, it looks like the 25 of Ron Simpson, he's going to be our new race leader as we get this thing back under green. That 27 of Andre Mongeon is actually going to restart this race in the second position. Then we see the ever fast, the number 6 of Rich Napnick. He's going to start us off in third. So the 25, as we go down here through the middle of turns 1 and 2, we're going to have a single foul race as we go down the backstretch, guys. But we'll go ahead and we'll touch on that real quick, Todd, what you were saying with the rear end damage. You know, this machine, it is a little bit loose on cold tires here, especially with all the high speeds that we're having to that these guys are turning around here, especially on cold tires at least. So I think the rear end damage could have a little bit of effect. I do agree with you there. And something we didn't really touch on earlier on in the race is with these high speeds, there's actually a very aggressive transition between the racing surface and the apron. So I think something to look for here is also some of these guys bouncing off that apron on the bottom side of the racetrack, especially if they have somebody on the outside of them. That could really play a factor in some of these accidents and collisions that we see here. Is we're following the number 6 of Nappick as he's actually trying to put that number 25 back into the third position and set his sights forward on that number 27 guy. So we actually saw a lead change here during this transition as well. So that 27, your new race leader, he's put himself out to about 0.2 of a second over now. Your new second place driver, Phil, that's the number 6 in Nappick. So he's starting to make his way back forward.
Oh, he certainly is. And Andre Mongeon, our new race leader, Andre from Canada out there aboard that number 27. He's going to assert himself to the race lead for the first time tonight. But he's got that rocket ship behind him, that number 6 of Rich Nappick from Connecticut. You know, these Connecticut guys must like going fast, just like myself. That number 6 certainly on a rail there tonight. You know, all over the back bumper of that 27. Todd is hitting the start-finish line toward turn 1. The 6 car going to look to the low side.
Yeah, Nappick down on the bottom side in that number 6 machine as we get ready to come down the front straightaway side by side, coming out of corner number 4. Down the front straightaway, the number 27 has a lot of power on the top side of the speedway, but Nappick bottling back down to the bottom side by side, door handle to door handle through the corner. An amazing race down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that number 27 of Mongeon able to keep that thing wound up on the top side there, guys. He's actually making it work, something we really haven't seen it all tonight. But as a drag race, now it looks like the 6 is going to win that battle down to the start-finish line. He's going to lead that last time around, as it looks like he'll probably be able to clear him here. So, you know, Mongeon tried to put up a fight for about 2 laps, and that was it. And now we see the number 6 of Nappick. He's asserted his dominance and put that hot rod machine right back out front. And he looks like he's going to be pulling away from the 27. So we saw those 2-tire strategy. It worked for about 10 laps, guys. And then we saw the 4-tire strategy come back in, and we see that tires are definitely the way to go at this racetrack.
Well, Joe, we documented here earlier on tonight. You went out there and took our DRTV, race car out on the racetrack, and as one of the 3 guys up here in the booth, we think you probably the most qualified to go out there and not tear our show car up. But you were out there turning some laps, and you talked about the 27 of Andre, battling back on that outside lane, but knowing what we know now about the way these things are going to fall off as far as losing almost a full second, if not more, through a full fueled tire run. Do you think as we burn off the goodness of these tires, do you think maybe we're going to see any kind of passing happen in that second groove here tonight, or do you think this thing's going to just be a low lane racetrack where you're going to do all your passing down low to the end of this night?
I'm thinking it's going to be more of a low lane track, to be completely honest with you, Phil. I mean, there's 4 distinct grooves on the racetrack that it separates, but we're really seeing a predominantly bottom feeder racetrack at least. And that's where most of the grip is anyway, so I don't really see the formation of a high line, even on old tires. Maybe if some guys are trying to save tires early in a run, they'll run up there, but besides that, honestly, it's probably mostly going to be guys trying to move individuals out of the way, even on old tires. I just don't see the high side being the place to be.
And as we can document now there, Todd, the restart leader there, the 25 of Ron Simpson, he seemed now, Todd, to maybe free fall through the field. Is that Ron maybe taking care of his equipment and saving some of that tire for the end of the run, or do you think it's these guys up front just kind of staying on it and trying to march their way forward?
I think Ron's trying to drop back through the field and save his equipment. He's been doing that pretty much all evening long. As now I believe the number 31 finally got around the number 27 machine. I believe it was the 27 machine that he did get around. The 31 of Jeff Stakanis is now running in that second spot. Fuelgate is sitting in third. Fourth is Keith McLean. I believe the 27 was drop kicked all the way back to the 5th position. So that shows you how well and how much of a bottom line this track is yellow flag going to fly out there on the speedway once again. I seen the yellow flag just flying, and I seen them yellow lights, and I'm not sure what happened. Did anybody else catch it?
Now I got a little glimpse of it there. It looked like it was around, I saw the 93 might have been involved. I saw the 87 also involved, the 87 Everett Lintz, and then the 87 machine, seen him involved. So something definitely going amiss down off of turn number 2 as they hit down the backstretch, and looked like it was a little more than maybe 2-car contact. Looks like there was going to be multiple cars involved. So we'll give Rich a little bit of time to sort out this replay. I think he's going to have a lot to show here, but looks like maybe a little bit of hip checking off of turn number 2 between the 88 and the 87. And unfortunately, Rich, for the 87, looks like Everett's night, it looks like it's going to continue, but that car's certainly going to have some heavy damage to it. There was even more stuff happening there in a secondary wreck afterward.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff going on back here. We're going to keep our cameras zoned in on the 87 of Lintz as he makes a little bit of contact with the 88. We're going to go ahead and run this through as slow motion as they come off the corner. Contact was made right there. That's going to send Lintz out into the wall, comes back, collects the right rear corner of the 88. That's going to send this 87 in the wash machine. 88's facing the wrong way, going backwards. 87's trying to keep it off of bouncing off the walls, does an outstanding job about not damaging his vehicle. Everybody else is able to look like they're getting around him, and then all of a sudden the 87 comes back down the track, boom, into the 44, into the 32. There's Wild Bill trying to get by on the 93 on the top side. Bill gets by just fine. The 32's getting some bumper action going with the 87, so all 3 cars, the 44, 87, and 32, all getting banged up a little bit here. And hopefully they get these cars pointed in the right direction and get them going again. But realistic damage, these guys are going to be hurting a little bit later with that. Hopefully it doesn't cause them any more problems tonight. But back up to you guys.
Yeah, as I'm looking through the field, watching a little bit of the pit stops and different stuff that was going on out there, and trying to catch back up through the scoring and timing here. I believe should have gone back to, I believe, the number 13 of Harry Conan in that number 13 machine. I believe the car that's directly in front of him. Yeah, indeed, it is Laval in that number 12 machine. Trying to check to see where he is actually at. He is actually 1 lap down, so I believe he's probably going to take a wave around, get back to the tail end of the field. But Codan is going to stay out there. I believe the 93 last time by was Wild Bill. Wild Bill was staying out there with that number 93 machine. So I'm not sure if he's still out there on the track. I've been looking through there, and no, he's actually went down to pit road. So 13, I believe, is the only one that has stayed out on the field. The number 6 did come down. Napick did come down pit road and got some tires and service. I'm kind of questioning the 13's move here.
No, I certainly am as well. I mean, it's certainly, we know Harry is certainly really, really fast, but, very interesting play here, Joe, is, 13 looks like maybe staying out on the racetrack and going to maybe surrender, the benefit of 4 fresh tires to Napick there aboard that number 6. Is that the play you would make if you were Harry right now in that 13 car?
Well, I was actually monitoring pit road there real quick as we see the lights out on our DRTV pace fan, but pit road has been a very large challenge for a number of these guys tonight. We've seen the 6 have issues on pit road, overshooting his stall. We've seen the 25 down on this last round of pit stops. He overshot his stall. And actually the 13, guys, he missed his stall completely and rolled right through pit road. So he ended up getting all the way through, and now he'll resume the race lead now. So definitely an interesting strategy call for him to at least not go back down and get 4 tires, but he'll take us back to green here as we see how the DRTV van is taking that left-hand turn back down pit road. So, Phil, I'm not entirely sure how long he can stay out there. I mean, it's worth the gamble, I guess. We're only lap 105 of 250 miles at this racetrack, so we'll see if he can stay out there. He's pulled himself out to about a 0.3 of a second lead over that number 6 machine, but we've seen on these new fresh 4 tires, we're not entirely sure how long he'll be able to maintain a distance and a gap like that, at least very early on in this run.
Well, we've certainly seen our, enough short bursts of racing here. Not quite here, approaching now the halfway marker, 105 on the board of 250. So, just shy of 20 laps of that halfway mark as we approach here in this sort of the race. But the 13, as you said, on those, those more, not quite so new tires there, Joe. Drop kicked out of the outside lane. That's allowed that Napick number 6 route to go by. Fugate in the 9. The 31 of Stanakis also going by. So maybe not the move there, Todd Stanton, that we think Harry should have played. Is it looks like now he's going to get relegated all the way now outside the top 5. And it's certainly going to be, I don't know, what Harry may be thinking there. Maybe a little bit of panic, but he's kind of made his bet at this point. He's going to have to make this run and, hope maybe for a little caution to maybe get back on equal sequence with these guys. Or, what do you think he's thinking aboard that number 13?
I think Cody Ann is thinking that, like you said, he made his bet. Now he's kind of got to sleep in it right now. But I think he was looking at a little bit of track position. He was mired back in the middle of the pack there with that number 13 machine, and I think he was trying to make some positions up. I mean, staying out right now, he's going to drop further back, but I think he was trying to make up some of these positions. Now maybe he'll be the benefactor. He'll be able to get some fresh tires and make up some track position there and hang on to some track position. But right now, Cody Ann is in that 7th position. Last time the scoring loop adjusted, the 13 was in 7th, so he's a little bit better off than where he was at here when we were green flag racing. It's really tough to pass around here. You got to wait for a mistake, because I've not seen no passes on the top side of the speedway. It's all been on the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the story of this race here as we unfold through the second half of this race. And just looking around the speedway, we know the 6 has been really quick all night long. The 9 to 31, those guys have been up near the top 5 all night long. But a great run here as we approach halfway for the 11 of Steve Grant. And also Bob Becker on your screen is pushrod of that number 17. He's worked his way to the top 5 guys, and he's starting to move his way forward. And you're seeing some new names. Dupuis, the number 24. We've seen the 24 have some damage here a little while ago. Dupuis now has worked his way now back up to the 6th position. So a lot of names we have not seen at the front of this field coming forward. And you look back to guys like Cody Ann, Ron Simpson, those guys, Keith McLean, those guys are near the top 5 early. Those guys now all relegated outside the top 10. So we've certainly seen some new names come forward, Joe Allen. It's certainly cool to see in our first trip to Hobo Racing, all the newness and, the reestablishing of the running order up to the front of the field, but all still chasing a number 6 of Napick, who has certainly shown to be the fastest car on the racetrack, was our pole sitter, and as we approach the halfway marker, still certainly appears to be the fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different shakeups in the racing lineup here as we've completed just under halfway of this race at least. So definitely a long ways to go though, Phil. I expect to see a whole bunch of names kind of come up and through this field, but the one thing that we can't deny is how fast that number 6 has been out front. Although I haven't really seen anybody been able to stay with him until this number 9 got up on his back bumper. That's Jeff Fugate. He's all over him, trying to see if maybe he can run him down and maybe get himself into the race lead. So even that 13 wasn't really able to put a whole lot of pressure on him when they were running up there. So this is definitely an interesting sight, seeing a guy that's able to put pressure on that 6. I mean, it's really going to make him really think and kind of mirror watch in his rearview mirror as he's going around this racetrack. And who knows, maybe we'll see a mistake out of that 6 that'll allow Fugate to get himself into the lead.
Well, we definitely saw that happen on pit road a little while ago as the 6 had that hiccup on pit road, allowed Cody Ann to go to the race lead. But to update the Harry Cody Ann machine, that number 13, he restarted with the lead on. As we said, there was more used tires than the rest of the field. Restarted on the pole there, but is now all the way back in that 12th position. And Joe Allen, he has fallen all the way back off the pace now, close to 5 seconds for that Cody Ann machine. His yellow flag is now on the speedway for, I believe, the 7th time.
Yeah, that's a huge break for Cody Ann in that number 13 machine, guys. Like we said, he had those huge pit road mistake this last time down where he completely overshot his pit stall and missed it and ended up just rolling through pit road. So he fell all the way back the last time the scoring looped around to the 12th position, Phil. I'm not sure if he lost any more spots or not, but definitely a huge break for him to get down there, put 4 fresh tires on there, and get himself back on sequence with these race leaders, as it looks like we're going to see a whole lot of takers come down pit road this time. All the leaders in the top 5 at least, possibly the top 10 are coming down. I'm not really seeing any takers that are wanting to stay out at this portion of the race at least.
No, absolutely right. I think the way of the land now has to be when you get that opportunity to come take 4 tires and be on the same cycle with the race leaders. I think it's going to be imperative at this point, and just stuff we need to learn here as we're approaching the halfway mark. 118 laps on the books. 7th yellow flag of the night. Rich Patton, you have been certainly busy down there in the control booth here for the first hour of this broadcast, and we're going to put you back to work again. So you're ready with the DRTV replay.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad. I believe I was just telling a family member how he was doing, just passing another driver and so forth. But we're going to keep our eyes on the 36. Yeah, you guessed it. That's Balan. We're going to keep our eyes on him as he gets into the corner. Looks like there might have been a little bit of slight contact right here in the corner. I'm not sure if they touched or not. Boundary boxes on these cars, you just can't tell. But there he goes up against the outside wall. He hangs on to it, gets another fender bump there, bump from Wild Bill. Looks like oh, who was that? Looks like the 44. That's Rubino. Jumps on the brakes hard to try to avoid him. They might have touched a little bit of bumpers here and there, but tough break for Palan. He's got a lot of damage on that car. It looks like the hood might even get wrinkled up this time. So tough break. We'll have to see if Palan's able to keep that thing in this event or not as this night goes on. Back up to you guys.
All right, so yeah, certainly something going on there for the 36 of Pilon there, getting out of shape, and tough break for Adino there, and the number 44. He was out there just kind of minding his own business here. That's of course Dan Rubino, the 44. Was riding around out there just minding his business outside the top 10. Got a piece of that action as well, but as we say here, Joe, with the high rates of speed at a place like MNRL. This mile high bank track that these guys are really rolling around at a tremendous rate of speed on these new tires. When you hit something, especially with these speeds and realistic damage, it can certainly just ruin your night in a hurry. And we hope for the 44, that's not the case there, as he just got swept up there through that caution flag.
Yeah, unfortunately, just the wrong place at the wrong time, and we've hit on it before earlier on in the race where the realistic damage is really going to play a pivotal role in some of these individuals' races. You want to really try to keep these fenders for clean, or at least try to keep them clean for the majority of the race. It's different if it comes down to the end of the race and you start banging with guys trying to get a win and whatnot. But early on in the race, the goal is to keep the fenders on and to stay fast and stay up front. So, very unfortunate, but that's the kicker with realistic damage, guys. I mean, it really makes you try to be somewhat conservative, but you also don't want to be too conservative. I mean, these guys are race car drivers, and race car drivers want to go out there and pass people and be fast and do everything they can to put themselves in position to win.
And of course, insight right there from one of the best in the business, the Jet, Joe Allen up here. Pleasure to have him a part full-time of the DRTV crew. Of course, you want the best in sim race broadcasts. You got us right here on DRTV. Find us at our home base, drlnetwork.com. Get your league on DRTV. Get Todd, Rich, Joe, all the hijinks of all of us at DRTV, and get your league in the spotlight. Great rates to showcase all your leagues, custom fit to all your needs out there. DRL Network, the home of DRTV. Todd Stanton, we're getting ready to get this thing back under green flag conditions. Leave the van on pit road and green flags in the air.
Yeah, the loud pedal is down, and the number 6 leading the way once again here at the MNRL Speedway. The number 6 machine. Napick is your current race leader. Then you have the number 31 of Stakanis, Jeff Stakanis, in that number 31 machine. He is running in that second spot. Steve Grant in that number 11 machine. I was talking to Rich there early on in the going. Steve Grant, beautifully painted car. I like the bird on the hood of Steve Grant. He is running in that third spot. And then Fugate is running in fourth in that number 9 machine. These guys all tight together, throw a blanket over them. You wouldn't see a darn one of them coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and a great race going on there for the third spot is Fugate, and the 9 is going to swing to the low side, Joe Allen. Looks like the 11 of Grant. Bird maybe not being the word that time around. He's going to slide out of line. Fugate's going to go by now. He's going to open the door for the 17 of Becker. Becker looking to pull that white and blue 17 to the low side. That's going to be great racing for fourth off of turn 2.
Yeah, it looks like Becker's not going to quite clear him as they drag race back down into turn 3. Guys, all single file again, so just not able to keep that car wound up on the bottom there to clear that and make that pass. So the 11, Grant, he's going to go ahead and reset and get himself back moving forward in that fourth position. As we see, it looks like those similarly painted, the 9 and the 31, those team cars, I'm assuming is what they are. I'm guessing those guys are teammates, but they seem to be working real well up front together, trying to see if they can run down and do something with that number 6. As we see, the 11, he's kind of solidified himself into the top 5 now, and that new face, that number 17 of Bob Becker, he's gotten himself up into the top 5 as well, guys. So good to see a bunch of new faces at least, as we got a little bit of separation from the 5th place machine to the 6th place machine. Last time around, they're showing about 3/4 of a second separation put between them. So, only 5 or 6 laps in, guys, and we've already seen some of these cars. Obviously, the front 6 have definitely put a huge gap between, that 7th and 8th place machine, but these front 6, you can still throw a blanket over them, so this should be interesting as we continue to put laps on these tires.
Yeah, we'll have to honor that and see as we're officially past the halfway marker. So let's see at halfway if we can't do a quick full field rundown. Sponsored by Apple Garage Door, the presenting sponsor of this race here tonight, the 2016 Christmas race for our friends at Hobo Racing. DRTV making its first trip over to Hobo here tonight. And let's see if we can't do a quick recap of your current running order. The number 6 of Napick, your current race leader. Rich Napick, of course, the number 6, your race lead. Jeff Stanake is second. Jeff Fugate is third. Steve Grant is fourth. Bob Becker currently in the 5th spot. Steve Rubino is 6th. Keith McLean is 7th. Andre Mondian is 8th. Maverick Chris Rodgers is 9th. Jordan Probst there in the number 81, currently 10th. Harry Cordian, Dion Dupuis, Ron Simpson, Everett Lintz, Larry D in the 88, currently 15th. Wild Bill is 16th in the 93. The 44 of Dan Rubino, currently 17th. Bill Kring is currently 18th in the 32. Bill out there struggling tonight so far in the 18th position. Patrick Pelon, the 36, currently 19th. And Ricky Bumbalo, the number 85, he's 1 lap down in 20th. Cal Lovall, and as they would call him here at Hobo, Cal Naughton Jr., currently the number 12 machine, 21st position, 2 laps down. 6 drivers out of the event. Neville Sacken, the number 51. Rob Keller, the 52. Jerry Walters, the number 7. Matt Flowers, the 47. Manny Diaz in the 710. And Duke Sorensen in the number 59. That is your full field rundown, guys. Sponsored by Apple Garage Door. 27 drivers took the green flag. 22 of them still left on the racetrack, or 21, I should say. And 19 of those 21 guys on the lead lap. Was be a great racing down the field, working its way toward turn number 3. It is still Napick and that number 6 guys. He's still your race leader, but a great race going on between him and the Stanakis machine, and also Fugate and the number 9 there, Todd. They are all over his back bumper. That number 6 not able to check out like we saw through that first run.
Yeah, definitely a great run. Shake and bake there, Phil. Always does a great job on our halfway point field rundowns. Managed to get through there. And for those of you that aren't familiar with some of the drivers that are in this race, we have a few guys from Quebec, Canada. And, for all of those that are out there, they know that those French names are hard to pronounce. So great job by Phil getting through those field and pronouncing those names and not butchering too many of them, if any at all, really. So, but we are under our 8th or 9th caution of the evening tonight. We saw more of the same out front, the 6, the 31, the 9, the 11, the 17, round out your top 5. And, Rich, looked like we had maybe a little bit of carnage back there, so let's throw it down to you and see what's going on the racetrack.
Yeah, you see it on the hood right there, the red car. We're going to call him Bino. That's going to be Dan Bino in the 44. We're going to keep our eyes on him at full speed. We'll slow it down once he gets into the corner. Looks like he went in pretty high that time, scraped the wall a little bit. That's going to send him loose. You can see there the rear end's coming around. We'll stop it right there, put it into slow motion. Looks like, boom, 36 tags him a little bit. 36 is able to keep it straight, doesn't get any more contact with him, but the 44 is tough into the wall one more time. Tough break for Rubino, also known as Bino in this league. Look at the back end of that car is just jacked up into the air. He is now driving a compact. Not sure if he's going to be running still anymore, but it looks like Bino has taken a tough break tonight, guys. Back to you.
All right, so it's a tough break for Dan Rubino, the number 44. Looks like his, machine being put behind the wall. Looks like he's going to pull the gloves and the helmet off, and he may be calling it anything as well. So we'll see if we can't catch up with the driver of the number 44, Bino. Let's see if we can't maybe get him on the horn. Bino, Phil LeCasse of DRTV, my friend. You have a copy? Try that again. Dan Rubino, Phil LeCasse of DRTV, my friend. You got your ears on?
Yes, I do. I'm having trouble with my team speak, though. Go ahead.
Well, Bino, great to talk to you as always. I appreciate all you guys at Hobo Racing for having us over this evening. But unfortunately for you, my friend, looks like gearbox trouble is going to relegate you behind the wall. But, you were out there through the first half of this race. I know we've been plagued by a lot of caution flags, but under green flag conditions, my friend, what's the racing been like on the racetrack?
Well, we have a 2-spin rule. You bring out 2 yellows, you have to park it.
So something very, very custom to all our leagues out there is that 2-in-park rule is, this is kind of an ethics kind of thing between the entire community. You cause 2 yellow flags on the racetrack, that the ethic is to pull that car behind the wall, let those guys out there to keep going. But Bino, I wanted to make mention of this, and I was talking to Steve here a little while ago. I know you coming from the Northeast as well, just like I am. You've been around, modified racing in general for a long time, but certainly a fan of the short tracks up in your area. And how much does short track racing mean to a guy like you and to all the guys over here at Hobo? Because it certainly seems like it has a big presence to you.
We were born and raised around short track. My father drove a race car for 30 years. That's all we ever knew was short tracks.
No, and I can't think of any other way to want to come out here tonight and, put this show live on DRTV, short track racing, something that certainly, not everybody's cup of tea, but certainly takes all the talent and all the skill that you could possibly need here. You get on one of these short tracks. Well, Bino, my friend, I know it's the first time we've got to ever talk to you here live on the DRL network. I want to give you the microphone one more time. I want you to give a shout to all your friends, your families, your sponsors out there, and, let everybody know out there, all your watchers out there on YouTube here tonight.
Well, I want to thank everybody who's ever watching. My sister, my friends. I think they're watching. I hope so. They probably got tired of it though. But and I thank you guys too. You're doing a hell of a job.
Well, Bino, it's certainly our pleasure to come over and join you guys at Hobo. We hope to talk to you again here real soon on DRTV. Hope to do a lot of racing here the next couple of months. So we certainly look forward to that. And thanks for having us over here tonight. It's certainly been a great time. You guys do a great job as always. And Hobo's one of those leagues out in the community. You always had a great reputation. Have a lot of great race car drivers. So, Bino, until we talk again, my friend, thanks for a couple of words. And I'm sorry to see your night end here early, but you had a great run.
Thank you. I'm going to get a seat up by the finish line.
All right, well, that's our friend Dan Rubino. Bino, as he's known over here at the Hobo Racing Clan. Great to talk to him, get some inserts there. I know he's been around short track racing for many, many, many years, guys. I believe Green Flag is back on the speedway, Todd, and still Napick of the number 6. He's, just like all night long, he's been the dominant car on the racetrack, and he restarts with the race lead.
Yeah, he restarts with the race lead in one whale of a start. He's got about a 3 to 4 car length advantage over the number 31 machine. Jeff Stakanis in that number 31 machine. He is running in that second spot. 11, Steve Grant is running third once again, and Fieldgate is running fourth. Those guys trying to run away and hide from Litz in that number 87 machine. He is sitting in that fifth spot. So these guys have been fast all evening long, and the cream is kind of rising to the top here. We're on lap 139 of 250, and again, number 6, the dominant force here all evening long at this racetrack. And he's still being dominant. And I really see nobody pressuring him real well there, Joe. Do you think anybody has anything for that 6? I know it's early.
Oh, you know as well as I do that I'm impartial to anybody that drives a number 6. So I got to pull for my fellow number 6 driver out there. So I don't want to jinx his race at all. I don't want the black cloud that you two seem to like to pass back and forth between each other. So I'm not going to make a prediction just yet, but I just want to let it be known that I am pulling for the number 6, but I'm not going to get the black cloud today.
Well, Joe, to touch on that a little more, I certainly don't want to put you on the spot. I certainly don't want you to inherit that black cloud that, Todd had for a long time. I mean, it was just a certainty here on DRTV. If Todd made a proclamation, it was certainly to go wrong, and it was going to ruin somebody's night. Well, unfortunately, here for the last couple of months, it seems like that black cloud has come right on to me, and any prediction I make as far as are we going to see a green flag pit stop or who's going to come to victory lane, it almost seems lately that it's me who's got that black cloud. So, Joe, we'll hope we don't pass it on to you. I'd like to rid of it myself, maybe pass it on to you, or maybe even pass it on to Rich, as we like to put him on the spot sometimes. But I'll ask you, Rich, here. I believe you may have a chat box update as well, but are you willing to take that black cloud from me tonight, Rich?
No, I don't want nothing to do with no black cloud. That's all you guys. Somebody I pick, they're not going to wreck. They're not going to drop back. They're not going to be involved in the caution. Whoever I pick is going to be good.
All right, well, that's a proclamation from the DRTV control booth. We're going to hold Rich to that. We'll make our predictions here as we get closer to the end of this thing. Maybe about 75 laps to go. We'll make the call out to these guys and see what they're thinking. And all of you guys out in the YouTube chat box, want to see you guys line it up. What do you think of this race so far? We're past the halfway mark, closing into that 150 lap mark. So it's going to be down to a sprint race from here as the high rates of speed these guys are turning at the MNRL Speedway tonight here. A very, very fast, high banked 1 mile oval, a fictional racetrack, but certainly one that's giving us some great looks and some great racing here around this racetrack. So guys in the YouTube chat box, I want to know your predictions here to the last part of this race. Who's going to go to victory lane? Are we going to see a green flag pit stop here tonight? Because this to be completely honest, in the first 30 laps of this race, it looked like this race was going to take a lot of green complexion. So are we going to see him on the green flag pit stops? If I'm a betting man, guys, I'm going to think that we're going to be, we're going to see her on the green flag pit stops maybe as soon as this run, Todd Stan. What do you think of that proclamation? Are we going to see a green flag pit stop? I'm going to throw a prediction out there right now that this is the run. We're going to see these guys have to come to the pit road for the first time. And what did you know? Just as I say that, contact on the racetrack, Todd. Yellow flag is out. You guys can take it. The black cloud stays in my lap.
That's a storm of brewing there, Phil. That's what happens to you. That black cloud stays with you. I gave it to you a long time ago, and it's going to stay with you for a long time. I'm telling you, I had it for, I think, every single broadcast up until a few weeks ago, so it's your turn. You can keep that black cloud. It's a tough break for somebody out there on the speedway. I'm not sure who was involved. I know Joe might know who's involved.
Well, actually, you know what? We're going to bypass me. We're going to throw it right down to Rich because Rich is all over it, so he's got a replay to show you guys.
Yeah, just call me Johnny on the spot tonight, I guess. We're going to keep our eyes on the 17. That's going to be Becker as we run this thing through. It looks like he just gets a little bit of solo action going on coming through the corner. Doesn't look like anybody's around and make any contact. We're running this in slow motion as the fans get to see this. He comes off the corner. Maybe we ought to run this at full speed. Maybe I went back a little bit too far. We're going to run this at full speed, then we'll slow it down. He gets a little bit of bump right there in the corner going in. The 17 slides it up. Rear end back into the wall hard. You can see that rear end is just completely crunched up on that car. There's a good shot of the rear end as well. Everybody can see that's really crunched up pretty good. Everybody else is able to get around him. Becker takes it down onto the apron. Meanwhile, stays low. Everybody else is able to get around going high. No other cars are involved, but tough break for Becker in that 17 tonight. Back up to you guys.
Was that my cue to talk there, Rich Patton? Not unlike our partner Todd Stan, I'm not going to fall asleep on the job. Just kind of still a little bit dejected here. Make that proclamation. We're going to see around the green flag pit stops, and I certainly want to see one here tonight. I want to see how these guys react on and off the pit road. And as you talked about here, during your warm-up laps you took here, Joe Allen, the transition off the racetrack here, off the high banks onto the apron, it's certainly a transition that could throw these guys for a loop. So I certainly am anxious to see if we get around the green flag pit stops, how these guys react getting on and off. What do you think it's going to be like for these guys if they come off in race conditions? Is it going to be a tricky proclamation, or is this something they're going to make look rather easy?
No, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, especially if you get to that point with how worn the tires are going to be and the pressure's built up in the tires. And, it's not a long access road, but it's a longer access road that's guarded by, an inside retaining wall, essentially. So they're going to really, and with pit speed being, it looks like 55 miles an hour, I believe, these guys are having to really get their cars woed down, especially when they're turning laps at 165 miles an hour around, the speedway. So, yeah, Phil, I think you hit it just right. If we do get there, then again, you have the black cloud again. We called it. I'm glad I don't have it, and I'm glad you do have it. But if we do get there, it's definitely going to pose some sort of a challenge. I'll agree with you there.
Well, sometimes you've got to make a bold prediction, guys. You have to have the gumption to make that bold prediction. But that is why we're thoroughbreds here on DRTV. We're not afraid to put that opinion out there. Of course, we've done a lot of opinions here lately on the debut of our new talk show, DRL Live, which comes live to you every Monday night here at 8 p.m. Eastern. We return on that on January 2nd, so stay on the lookout for that. A couple of week break here for the holidays, but you guys have not checked out the first 2 episodes of DRL Live. I recommend going back to the YouTube archive and checking out those first 2 episodes because they've been a great time. An all-new talk format dedicated to all things sim racing, whether it be home-rooted like we are here in NR 2003. We branch out to iRacing, R-Factor, whatever kind of racing out there. We want to hear from all leagues that do it, all sim racers alike. It's conversation for you guys, by you guys. So, DRLnetwork.com, the new show DRL Live, and you guys can feel free to send all your feedback to the DRL Live Facebook page, and also race results, recaps, and whatever information you'd like to get us out on the airwaves by sending us an email to drlive@drlnetwork.com. So a lot of ways to be interactive to us. Of course, being interactive right here in the YouTube chat box like you guys here night after night, seeing all the conversation out there. Bob Tompkins is out there. Derek Justice has now chimed in. Eddie Lee, J-Rock out there per usual. I'd like to thank all you guys out there and all our viewers for the continued support we get here week after week, night after night here on the DRL Network. We certainly cannot do it without you guys, and we certainly love bringing it to you. But what we love to bring you, Todd Stanton, is Green Flag Racing, and Green Flag is on the speedway.
That green flag was back out on the speedway. We're about 3/4 of the lap into that green flag that just came out. We're coming back to the start-finish line, so we have 1 lap completed under green. Your race leader is Rich Napik in that number 6 machine, but this time he did not get away like he has in the past. The 31 machine was all over his rear bumper. Jeff Stakanis in that number 31, all over his rear bumper, and almost able to pull off the pass, but he thought better of it. He's been looking low on that number 6 machine, maybe a little bit of a bump and run. Oh, he closes the door. Napik slams that door shut once again as the number 9 of Fieldgate is running in that 3rd spot. Identical car to the number 31 machine, so maybe he's waiting to pounce on one of these guys, but I'm telling you what, this is the fastest I've seen that 31 all over the rear bumper of that 6 of Napik. So Napik has got to be thinking, is he going to be able to hold him off? I know it's still early on in the going, still about 95 laps to go, but some of these guys showing a little bit of their cards.
Yeah, as you said, first time that anybody's really been able to get all over the back bumper of the 6 car, so got to wonder if maybe they're trying to play a little bit of games out there with each other up front, not really showing their hands early on in the races. We're back under caution here at the MNRL Speedway. Just completed lap 155 of 250 here on this mile speedway, so I don't know if Phil or Todd saw anything. We figured out so far through this race that if there is a caution, it usually involves at least a couple cars running realistic damage here. Really does have its toll on some of these race cars. So, Rich, I hear that you got the replay ready for us, so we're going to throw it down to you real quick and show us why we're back under the caution here at MNRL Speedway.
Yeah, I know you guys aren't going to want to hear this, but it looks like we're going to keep our eyes on the 93. That's going to be Wild Bill. We kind of did a tribute video for him a little bit earlier. We know he's the old guy out here, but he's hanging tough with these young guns. And a tough break for Wild Bill. We're going to go ahead and run this through in slow motion. You can see he's got a lot of damage on the back of his car already. He gets a little bit loose. Keep in mind he's running on a damaged car. So he's going to get it on the apron a little bit, upsets his car, tries to save it, does a heck of a job keeping it up there, and then all of a sudden it just broke loose from him, put the back end into the wall, and he's in the wash cycle right now, spinning around a little bit. But a tough break. Looks like right there the 24 just socks it to him right in the rear end. Nowhere for the 24 to go. 93, tough break for Wild Bill. He's down against the inside guardrail. I don't think he's going to go any further, guys. Tough break for Wild Bill. Back up to you.
All right. Unfortunately, looks like Wild Bill has pulled that thing behind the wall. Damage too severe, and looks like he's going to bring the 93 machine home, the 19th position tonight. It's going to leave 18 drivers left on the racetrack. And Joe Allen, something we haven't touched on here. We've seen a lot of cars a lap down here through the middle stage of this races, but now with less than 100 laps to go, all 18 drivers on the racetrack are going to be all on the lead lap. So it truly can be anybody's race from here as we get through these last 75 laps.
Oh, definitely. You're right. This is one of the first times in the evening so far that we've had everybody on the lead lap, it appears. But another thing we have to keep in consideration, I think we're completing caution number 9 or 10, somewhere around there, guys. I could be wrong. I could be pretty close. I'm not entirely sure offhand, but we could have some cars with some damage out there that's really going to kind of throw a wrench in things as well, especially with the way realistic damage works here. But the one person or the 3 people, I should say, actually, that have been able to keep the fenders on it so far through this event, that's the 6 of Napik, the 31 of Stakanis, and then the number 9 of Fugate. Those 3 cars have been able to keep the fenders on it all night, so that's certainly something that we should look into as the race continues on. We're getting ready to complete lap 158 here, so just under 100 miles left in this race, guys. But I don't think we've seen the best of Hobo Racing yet. I think as we get through the last 100 miles here, we're really going to see some of the best racers come out.
All right, guys, so we're going to reset here up in the booth here under caution flag with less than 100 laps to go in the Hobo Christmas race. But we're going to pause here for another quick second, for another great word from our presenting sponsor here tonight, Apple Garage Door. So we'll be right back.
When it comes to keeping up with maintenance on their homes, most homeowners overlook the heaviest moving object in the home, their garage door. At Apple Door Systems, we can not only fix your garage door, but we also offer our Gold Star annual maintenance plan to make sure it's operating properly and safely. This ensures that your garage door will last for years to come.
Call Apple Door today or visit us online at appledoor.com.
We're Apple Door Systems. Give your home a grand entrance.
All right, we're back here at the MNRL Speedway, the 2016 Christmas race. Holiday edition here tonight on DRTV. Our friends at Hobo Racing, our very first trip for the DRL network over to our friends at Hobo Racing. Check them out, hoboracing.com. A great league, a lot of great short track racing, 3 nights a week, and a great group of guys. Steve Rubino and the entire clan over here at Hobo. Tremendous people. Did a great job getting DRTV here this evening. We did this on 2 or 3 days notice, getting all this together, and these guys has been fantastic with all the information stuff provided to our fingertips tonight, making us sound a whole lot more intelligent, maybe in Todd's case, maybe not so much, but we do our job up here in the booth, the thoroughbreds of sim race television. We're back under green flag conditions and right where we left it, Joe Allen. Rich Napick, that number 6, the pride of Connecticut, pulling away now off of turn number 2.
Yeah, Rich Napick still leading off of turn 2 here, but as we said over the last green flag run, that 31 and that 9 are all over his back bumper, just riding it, trying to see if maybe he can try to put some distance between them, but, you know, as we've said, he just really hasn't been able to pull away from these guys. So, you know, something interesting to think about as we get down towards the end of this race, guys, is who's going to be willing to put the bumper to who? We see 2 teammates that are battling for 2nd and 3rd position. Both of them want to win the race. Do you think one of them moves the teammate out of the way to put the other in position to hopefully go up there and challenge for the race win here, guys?
Well, I'm going to ask that question to my buddy alongside, Mr. Too Tall Todd Stanton, a teammate to both of us on the racetrack. And Todd, from a guy who's moved me out of the way enough times to maybe try to win one of these races, would a teammate move a teammate out of the way? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let you tell all our viewers out there as we think about all the excerpts of racing we may do on the Speedway together over the course of this weekend.
Well, if definitely if it was the 93 or 4 on it and it said Phil on it, I would make sure I moved it out of the way to win a race, or make sure I piled it into the wall up over the top of the wall, and I would take myself out. But yeah, teammates are known to move teammates. I mean, Joe's a teammate too, and on the track, and we've had our encounters. I've had encounters with a high side hustler, but we've all had our encounters. And when it comes down to the win, you want to win these races just like the next. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen with everything that's going on out in the speedway. Some teammates are really good to each other, others not so much.
Well, that's Todd Stanton's point of view. Let me ask our teammate up here in the booth, Joe Allen, alongside. What do you think, Joe? Would a teammate move a teammate to win one of these races? We certainly know if your name is Chase and we have Todd, he's certainly going to move us. But what do you think, Joe?
You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I've moved Martin Karch, the high side hustler, out of the way before. I've moved David Day out of the way before. Hell, I've wrecked David Day from the lead before, and David's wrecked me, and you guys have wrecked me, and I've wrecked you. So whether or not those are accidental or purposeful is another story for another time that we'll discuss later on. But for a win is a win. The way I look at it, teammates are out the window with 10 laps to go. So if you're in my way and I want to win the race, well, chances are I'm probably going to move you out of the way.
Yeah, I'm going to ask the same question to Rich Patton. I know Rich is a racer here for a long time. No, he's pretty much hung up the belt now, put the wheel away, and as far as a competitive online track racer there, Rich. But if you're out there with teammates in the late one of these things, I mean, it's DRTV, man. You're on the air. It's a short track. It's a long distance race here. It's a non-points race. So these guys are you willing to move a teammate out of the way to claim a checker flag?
I think that's tough. In a Christmas race, probably not. I'd let my teammate win. In a points race, if I wasn't going for championship, and it didn't matter where I finished, I'd still be sitting pretty, I probably wouldn't. I would push the teammate to the win. But I have been known to push teammates to the win several times before and sit in second place quite often. So I'm probably not the aggressive one that you want to ask this question to.
It's certainly a fun race atmosphere we have here tonight. This is a non-points race for the guys at Hobo, so regardless of what may happen, they may not throw the potatoes across the table in a holiday dinner like Todd will probably do to me here in a couple of weeks. But so we turn our attention back to the racetrack, guys. Looks like the Stanakis machine, the number 31, the 9 of Fugate, they're able to assert themselves in position number 1 and 2. They've relegated Napick and the number 6 now back to position number 3. Certainly a place he has not been familiar to all night long there, Todd. And that 31 of the 9, they bided their time just right. We've under 80 laps to go in this event, 172 of 250 on the board. have these guys played the strategy just right? And do these guys have the move that's going to propel them to victory lane?
I'm telling you, Cicadas in that number 9 of Fugate, they drove right by that number 6 machine. It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe the 6 did roll over and let those guys by him just to give them a little bit of a memory complex. Give them a little bit of a complex, make them think that the 6 is slower than he is, and trying to get inside of his head. Those two heads. I'm not sure what's going on. They did drive by him like madmen, though. Both of those guys, those team cars out there, Cicadas and Fugate in that number 9 machine. So we're going to have to wait and see if the 6 this is a strategy call, maybe to save some tires and go at it later in the going.
Yeah, so as we continue to cover that story with the number 6, we can keep in mind earlier on in the race, guys, when we put a bunch of laps on our tires, that 6 was actually able to pull away from then second place, the number 13. That is Harry Codian. And guess what, guys? Codian got mired back in traffic after missing his pit stall several cautions ago. He's finally cracked the top 5 again. So that number 13 of Codian starting to make his way back forward, battling with the number 11 right now. That's Steve Grant for that 4th position. So it'll be interesting to see if that 13 can get himself around the 11, put himself into that 4th position, and then set his sights forward on that number 6 of Rich Napick.
And Joe, I want to touch on another subject here as we look at laps click off now, less than 75 laps to go. We haven't talked much about the fuel and tire window here tonight, but we're looking at somewhere around 45 to 50 laps, and we've documented over the course of a long run how these tires are going to fall off. But I want to ask you, Joe, if we have one more pit stop left here to make, are you willing to make this run all the way out to the end and maybe burn off all the fuel and all the good out of the tires, or would you think of maybe cutting that run in half, or maybe even short pitting at that matter, and maybe make your last pit stop and see where the tire, where the cars hold, and maybe gain some track position here late? What would you do?
I think it depends on what some of the competitors are doing. Me personally, I've always been known to run the fuel out of it. I prefer to do a method like that. But that also depends on what your competitors do. If some guys want to cut this run in half, that's fine. I'm going to stick to my strategy and I'm going to run it out. But at a track that consumes tire wear like this track does, if I see guys come in 5 to 10 laps maybe before the end of our pit window, I might consider coming down pit road a little bit earlier, just because we've seen how much time you can lose on new tires here as opposed to old tires. I don't know that I want to stay out very much longer at the end of a run than 2 or 3 laps if a guy decides to come in 10 laps before the fuel window comes up, just because I don't want to give up that much time to him if he is able to make up time on those new tires. So like I said, it depends on what the rest of my competition does. But me personally, I've been known to usually run the fuel out before I decide to go down pit road. I'm not one for really cutting the run in half.
Now, I think I would agree with you there as well. As we look around the speedway here now, it's Stanakis, that number 31, the pride of Michigan, and that equally prepared team car, Jeff Fugate in the number 9. Those two guys leading this field as they work their way off of turn number 2, 181 laps up on the board. So we got our way, a Thursday night short track, maybe sprint race here to the finish here. As we look at those two guys, of course, Rich Napick, the number 6, the fastest car on the speedway through much of the first half of this event. He was our pole sitter about an hour and a half ago. He's currently in the 3rd spot. How about Steve Grant in that number 11? Bird being the word on the 11, currently in that 4th spot. And we update the top 5. Harry Codian, we've seen him at the end, the front of this field early. See some tire strategy not pay off at relegating him outside the top 10. That number 13 now, guys, back up into the top 5. So he's no doubt going to be a player before the end of this thing, Todd Stanton. With one more pit stop for these guys left here to make, I believe it's going to be certainly anybody's race now. It's going to be inside those top 6 or 8 positions.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch now. Cody in that number 13 tried to make a move down to the bottom side, hub-sucking around this speedway. The number 11 of Steve Grant, he's trying to stay. He's about middle groove, where the 13 of Cody Ann is like I said, it's dirt terminology, hub-sucking. You're down there on the hub, you're going all the way around the speedway, on the bottom side of the speedway, of course, all the way down towards that line. But Cody Ann has not been able to pull off the pass on the number 11 of Steve Grant, as right now the number 6 and Napick is sitting there in front of him. So it's about a 3-car battle there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it's interesting to see they have to go and play a little bit of offense, but they also have to play defense at the same time. I know Napick is sitting in his mirror looking at these guys, seeing how fast these guys are coming. But Cody Ann in that number 13 machine, he's all over the rear bumper of the 11 of Steve Grant. He wants forward too.
Yeah, he certainly does. It's great racing around for that third spot. As we update, the Rich Napick machine, that number 6, Joe, on. I know the number 6 certainly near and dear to your heart as well, but what do you think's happening there aboard the 6? Has he burned up his tires, or is he saving his stuff here in preparing for these last 50 laps?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. As we were covering that, we actually just saw the 6 come off of turn 4 and just smack the wall there, Phil. That actually opened the door for the 13, who had just cleared the 11. He now just cleared the 6 guy, so move that number 13 of Harry Codian up into the 3rd position as he sets his sights forward on those front 2 cars of the 31 and the 9 guys. Is going back to the number 6, he looks like he's struggling, Phil. I mean, I don't know if he burned the tires off or if he was trying to save tires, but that's all kind of out the window now as we saw him bounce off the wall there with this realistic damage. That's definitely going to hurt his machine. So he's actually, been relegated back to the 6th position, back behind that number 28 of Keith McLean. So that'll be a developing story. We'll have to follow one of the dominant cars for more than half of this race, guys. He's fallen back into that 6th position now. As we see the 13 now, who is kind of mired back in traffic for half the race, has put himself back up into the 3rd position and marching his way forward.
And he's got that Camaro marching forward. As you said, it was 1.6 seconds about 2 laps ago. He's closed that down to 1.3 seconds to our race leaders, Stanakis in the 31 and Fugate there in the number 9. So that 13 of Cody Annie, Todd Stanton, he may be on the move. Looks like it's stabilized now to about an even 1.3 seconds. But with 60 laps to go and one more pit stop left to make, what do you think is going to be the play in that 13 camp here as they prepare for one more pit stop?
Not sure what Cody Ann's gonna do. Is he gonna come down pit road and maybe take 2 tires? Like you said, it's still 1.3 second gap. He didn't make up much of anything on that, and he maybe even lost a little bit of ground there. But Jeff is sitting in that lead right now, so he's just sitting there. He's got his teammate. He's got a comfortable feeling behind him. He has his teammate, a Fugate, right there behind him. So we're going to have to wait and see what those 2 are going to do. Are they going to move each other out of the way like myself or Joe would do, or for that matter, or are they just going to sit and ride? Because this is a fun race. Maybe just a 1-2 finish here live on DRTV is all they want, and that's a lot of times what everybody wants.
And I just want to take a second here, guys, as we're approaching now just under 60 laps to go, 192 laps up on the board. We haven't done a whole lot for as far as full field rundowns tonight, but if you looked, about half hour ago, about 50 laps ago, we did the rundown. We talked about the number 12 about Cal Lovall. They call him out here Cal Naughton Jr. And of course, with a name like Cal, and you're shaking and baking out there aboard that number 12. He was, outside the top 20. He was 3 laps down in the rears, guys. So what a way to rebound. That number 12 of Cal Lovall, he is now riding his way on the lead lap inside the top 10 in position number 8. So a great rebound for that number 12, and he's got plenty of time to march his way forward. Currently in the 8th spot, he's got a little bit of gap between him and the 7th place running number 21 of Steve Rubino. But, what a great rebound there, Joe, for that number 12 of Lovall here tonight.
Yeah, definitely a nice comeback for Laval in that number 12, as we kind of touched on. As we look back out to the front of this field, we see the 13 continue to try to get himself back up to that number 31 and that number 9. But over the last couple of laps, guys, I've actually seen the 31 of Stikanis actually put a little bit of a distance between himself and his teammate in the 9. So definitely going to be interesting to see if maybe he can go ahead and run his teammate back down. But that 13 of Cody Ann actually has closed that gap. It initially started out when he moved himself into the 3rd position, about 1.6 seconds behind. That gap has actually closed down to just 1 second now, guys. So that 13 is on the move. Looks like he might have been able to save a little bit of tires, and he's really making a charge forward to see if he can get himself back into the race lead here as we close in on our what's looking like, hopefully, if we get to it, our last pit stops of the race.
Yeah, we update that number 13, as we said. Todd Stanton has closed that gap now to under 1 second even, and it is closing. So I think it's certainly safe to say, and Todd, you're certainly the stats guy up here in the booth. You always have the numbers and telemetry, at your fingertips. But is it safe to say that that number 13 fastest car on the racetrack? Just as we say that, let's throw it down to you. I believe these guys are diving on toward pit road for around the green flag pit stops.
Yeah, they're coming down. I'm telling you, the 31 had some maneuvers he had to do as he was coming down pit road. It looked like he was coming down pit road, and he thought of it and almost lost it there. And that number 31 machine, Stakanis, almost lost it. That's going to be pretty costly on the track. As now I'm in the pits of Stakanis. He's coming down to the end of his pit. We're going to see what's going to happen. Right side up in the air, going to take 2 fresh Goodyear Eagles on the right side of that machine. Looks like they're going around to the left side. Left side's up in the air. 4 tires is the call for Jeff Stakanis in that number 31 machine, and he is down and away.
And I was down here in the number 9 pit stall of Jeff Fugate. Right sides went up on that car, then left sides. He's down and away with 4 fresh tires for that number 9 of Jeff Fugate.
I was down here in the 13 camp, guys. It was 4 tires for Harry Cody in, but developing situation there. No, he won that race off of pit road. He pounded the inside wall on pit road, so we'll have to see if maybe some damage there is. A new twist in the skies, and wouldn't you know, in the middle of green flag pit stops, a yellow flag going to throw a complete wrinkle into this thing now with more than 200 laps on the board, 201 to be exact, so 45 to 50 laps is the pit window here, guys. These guys just coming off of pit road. Dare I beg the question, can they make it, guys, with that one last pit stop? I'll ask you first, Joe.
I don't think so. I think our pit window is anywhere between 40 some odd laps. We're looking at about 50 to go. Unless these guys want, 46 to 50 laps. Unless these guys wanted to stretch it on tires, they'd have to save a little bit of fuel here under this caution. I don't know. It's going to be close, guys. It'll be really close. I don't think they can. Not with the high speeds that they're running.
So we'll have to update and see what happens here toward pit road, but just a wrinkle right in the middle of green flag pit stops. It's going to trap an awful lot of guys there. 1 lap down, it may cause some wave around here situations. We'll have to update what's going to happen there as far as timing and scoring. But it was through a wild round of green flag pit stops as we saw when the race leaders made their sprint in. It's certainly hairy down there, coming off from these high speeds down off the banking onto the flat, going onto pit road. These cars getting all out of shape, and I think we may have that happening coming on the replay here. Is it looks like maybe somebody trying to get onto pit road, maybe locking them up and going around in front of the field. Don't want to speculate, but not want to steal any of Rich's thunder. But we're going to let Rich have this ready on the replay. And Rich, I believe you've queued in. You're ready to go, so let's step down to the booth.
Yeah, tough break for the 85. Bumbelow, we're going to watch this go through as he seems to be thinking about getting down off the track as he runs this through. We'll run it through at full speed until he slows down. Right there, he comes down on the apron. He checks up really hard, gets the car upset right there, misses that cone just barely to get around. That's on the backstretch. Not sure what he was thinking there, but definitely brake checking, trying to get down onto that apron for whatever reason. He's going to lose control, take it down to the inside wall. That's going to put him front end into the wall, give him some damage there as he spins again, trying to get that car pointed in the right direction and get moving. And basically that's what brought out the caution. So he's going to have some front end damage on that one. Not sure how that's going to affect him towards the end of this race, but tough break for that 85 machine. Back up to you guys.
Yeah, it certainly was a tough break for the 85, as you said. Ricky Bumbelow had a great run going on. Now going to be relegated outside the top 15, currently 16th position. 2 laps down in the rears, guys, but just looking at the way that's going to cycle out through that round of pit stops with the way the caution flag fell. I'm not sure if the way the land over here at Hobo Racing is the wave around rule, but it looks like we may have as many as 6 to 8 guys on the tail end of the lead lap, so that may make for a really, really interesting restart. As it looks like if you look at racing the hard way, 2 drivers legitimately are going to be left onto the lead lap. The lights go out atop of DRTV pace fan, and I'm seeing the field starting to creep on by. So these guys look to be taking the wave around. So that's going to be 6 or 8 guys. That's going to put probably about 10 guys on the lead lap. So it's certainly going to change the complexion of this race, guys.
Yeah, and what that's going to do, that's going to cycle back around and put the 32 of Bill Kring. Haven't really covered much on that 32 this evening, guys, but Bill Kring, one of the better short track racers in the NR 2003 community. I've raced against Bill a whole bunch, and he's definitely not to be messed with and joked around about. That'll also move the number 17 of Bob Becker. That'll move him up into the 2nd position, guys, and then we'll get back to the number 6 and the 13, followed by the 31 and the 9. Those guys will line up back in the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th position. So as we see the van, the DRTV van, is pulled off down pit road here, Todd, and Bill Kring is going to take us back under green here. So it'll be interesting to see what speed those guys that took those wave rounds, what speed they'll catch them at. As it looks like we're still rolling around here a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what's going on just yet, guys.
Thinking it may be a race control guy. He's doing a little house cleaning here, and I'm not sure if I can get, the quick word from that from Steve up in the booth, but it sounds like the wave around guys, the way it sounds like they're doing it here at Hobo tonight, allowing those guys to get back and allowing the race administration here to get rid of those scoring errors as far as clearing of a hard black flag, letting everybody get resorted out. So I think it's just a little bit of house cleaning here, guys, letting those guys get back onto the lead lap, clearing of race control. So I'm going to be expecting this time around, guys, we're going to see the green flag, Todd. I think that's what we can expect this time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the green flag this time. Like you said, it's real tough to get these black flags and all that stuff cleared, and I believe that's why they want the extra lap here, just to do, like you said, house cleaning out there on the speedway. We're expecting the green flag to go here this time, and that's going to be with the 32 of Bill Kring, your leader. We're going to have to just wait and see. Green flag is definitely back in the air. The 32 of Bill Kring going to lead him down into corner number 1. On your screen, Pushrod 17 in that number 17. He is running in that second spot. The number 3 machine, in the third position, I should say, the number 6 machine of Napik. Napik is running third. See how well his crew fixed that damage, our heavy right side damage on that number 6 machine. We have to wait and see. Kodani in that number 13 machine, he is running fourth. And the 31 machine is sitting in that 5th spot. Stakanis in the number 31, he is sitting 5th. So that rounds out your top 5 right now. But Bill Kring showing some muscle here late in the going. We're on lap 207 to 250 as we come down into turn number 3 and out of turn number 4. Get ready to come down the front straightaway here. Bill Kring, your current race leader.
Yeah, and could this race have fallen into Bill Kring's lap here late in the going? We saw these guys that took that wave around, as you said, they restarted behind some lap cars. So that took a little bit of time for the 6 of Napik, the 13 of Kodiani, the 31 of Stanakis. Those guys had to just kind of tiptoe their way around slower traffic, but they've cleared that, and now they got their sights set on the race leaders. Bill Kring, the 32, Bob Becker, the pushrod in that number 17, currently in that second spot with some heavy rear end damage. But here comes that number 6 machine of Napik. It was 1.1 seconds last time by, guys. We let it recycle here. Next time at the line, I think it's going to be well under 1 second as he is on the move, trying to make his way around lap traffic as they work their way off of turn number 4. Let's update the interview at the line. It was 1.1. Well, it's down to 0.8, guys. So that 3/10 of a second gain. The 6 car is on the move. The question of the day is, Joe Allen, does the 32 car have enough car left, and can he keep these guys behind him for 40 more laps?
It's going to be interesting to see. Let's keep in mind these leaders are still battling some of this lap traffic up here, Phil, trying to get around them. And we have to realize that when we took this thing back green, we took it with approximately 45 laps to go or so. So we're still looking at possibly a full fuel run as we're 3 wide back behind the number 6 car. A little bit of contact back there on the backstretch. And looks like we got a car spinning down through turns 3 and 4 now. So that'll kind of throw that whole scenario out. Looks like it'll bring the caution out. Yep, that's going to bring the caution out on the speedway, guys. So I think fuel strategy we can officially throw out the window. I expect to see most of these guys come down pit road, top off, put 4 fresh tires on it, and go back at it again. So, but touching on Bill Kring, I don't see any wrinkles on that 32 car, Phil. So I don't know if he has enough to stay in front of the 6, but knowing Bill Kring, as long as I've known Bill Kring, I know that he's definitely going to give it his all to see if he can stay out there. So we'll see what happens.
And what do you think here, Todd? Is the leader comes to pit road, the 6 isn't coming in, which is real interesting, but the 32 coming to pit road, you got to imagine Bill Kring now, if he knows those guys are staying out, obviously going to be 4 tires and try to march his way forward. What do you think of strategy play here for the 6 staying out? Do you think that may be the right move? As we've seen that certainly didn't pay out before for guys like Cody Inn, but what do you think there of that move of the 6?
He's got quite a few cars behind him that are on the same strategy. We're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen as Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, is already ready with the replay. It is queued up for everybody. Rich, what happened to bring out this latest yellow?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about super speedway action earlier on when we saw the big one up into the catch fence, but now we see another super speedway action here. We're going to get these guys 3 wide on this track. Unbelievable. As these guys coming off the corner, it looks like the 87 and the 88 may have made a little bit of contact right there. You see them 3 wide. tight positioning. It doesn't look that tight, but it certainly is when you're in the car. There's a little bit of bump right there. The 87 goes out into the wall. 88 bounces off the inside car, puts it back into the 87. 87's up against the wall one more time. He's going to try to hang on to it, but it finally gets out of control on him. Everybody else is able to jump on the brakes, dive down below the 87, so Lentz doesn't take any big licks from anybody else out on the track. But tough break for Lentz. He definitely flat-spotted some tires and played rubbing racing with the wall a little bit out there. So maybe he'll be able to get back into this thing as we get down towards the end of this event tonight, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, tough break for the 87 and the 88 machine involved in that wreck, and we're going to have to wait and see if those cars are damaged or too far damaged for those guys to continue on. Right now, they're getting extensive work from their crews here. Hopefully, they'll make it back out in the speedway. I do not see them pulling it behind the wall, but your current race leader is the number 6 of Napic. Napic staying out. Cody Ann in that number 13 also staying out. The 31 of Jeff Stakanis is in that third spot. Fourth is the number 9 of Jeff Fugate. Steve Grant rounds out your top 5. So these guys all staying out. There's a whole gaggle of cars, a whole mess of them that did stay out, as the number 32 did come down pit road. The 28 of Keith McLean came down pit road. Pushrod in that number 17 machine, he also came down pit road. Steve Rubano in the number 21, he came down pit road also. So it's going to be interesting to see what those kind of plays are. Do these guys have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way? They're going to be right on that bitter edge. There is the number 6 and the 13, but I think they're going to almost make it.
All right, well, we see the lights are off on the top of the DRTV Pace Fan as we get ready to take ourselves back under green flag conditions here, but looks like we just completed lap 214, started 215, so just under 36 laps to go now, guys. What do you say we do a quick pick'em? I'm going to go with my conscience, and I'm going to be biased because I drive the number 6. Those of you that know me know that I drive the number 6, so I'm going to take the number 6 to win this race. Phil, who are you going with?
Well, I hate to do it, and, you know, at this point, I think you stole my thunder there, but I'm going to agree with you, Joe. I think Napic, the number 6, he's been fast all night long. It's red. It's got a number 6 on it. I know the 6 can fly. I'm going to pick the 6 also to go victory lane. Are you going to make that unanimous, Todd, or are you going to go out on a limb?
No, I can't agree with you guys. That's not going to happen. That never happens here on DRTV. I'm going to go with the 13 machine. He was fast all evening long. Also, he's been mired back there. He has not hit the wall like the number 6 machine has. So I'm going to go with Harry Conani in that number 13 machine. We're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, to see what happens. Here comes the 13 down low. He's trying to make a race of it here early on in the going here. There's a number 6 right now of Napic trying to hold off the 13 at bay. He's not right now. The 13 back down to the bottom side, trying to get the run, trying to do his slingshot maneuver down into the corner, not able to pull off the pass there. But I'm going to pose the same question to everybody out there in YouTube land. Who is going to win this race? Who do you have a favorite out there? Just name out the guy who you think is going to win this race. We're just going to have to wait and see, as the number 6 does kick it up a little bit into high gear. But tire conserving, if we go green flag the whole way, he might be out. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton. Rich? We're not going to leave you out here tonight. You've got to pick a driver.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the 6. I think he's a moving target, and I think the 3 cars behind him all have them in his, him in the bullseye. I think the 13 is strong, but don't count out that 31 and that 9, as we see the 31 go, or the 13 going for the lead right now. So there's a battle for the lead.
Battle for the lead through turns number 1 and 2. We're just outside of 30 laps to go. We have a good old-fashioned 30-lap late model race here. We were like up here in my home state of Connecticut, here at the Thompson Speedway. We have a little bit of our own version of Thursday Night Thunder here tonight at the MNRL Speedway, a 1-mile high-banked oval. These guys have been clicking off great lap times all evening long as we approach 2 hours into this broadcast. 220 laps up on the board, Todd. Less than 30 laps to go. You made the bold pick there with the 13 of Cody Ann. So far, it looks to be a great pick. He's asserted himself to the race lead. He looks to be pulling away a little bit as they hit the start-finish line toward turn 1.
Yeah, almost to a 3-car length advantage over the number 6 machine of Napic. We're going to have to just wait and see. Napic could have just let him by to conserve his tires. But I'm going to go down into the YouTube chat box. We've had one guy pick it, and we have not seen anybody. We haven't seen him all night. Daniel Skins picked the number 6, so he's in agreement with Phil Phil and Joe up here in the broadcast booth. So I guess it's 3 against 1 right now. But I'm telling you right now, I think the 13 is a man on the mission. I think he wants to win one of these races. I've had a lot of chats with that number 13 machine on Facebook about getting on DRTV, and he wants to win one of these races. I'm sure just like anybody else out there on the track. So it's just going to come down to who's hungrier.
Well, I'm just looking at the YouTube chat box as well. I saw our friend Dan Yeager, better known in the community as Dano Skins, been out there doing paints for a lot of these guys for a long time and creating the Dano Skins Pro Cup Series over at the Excel Racing League for many, many, many years. And, Dano thinks that number 6 is going to find victory lane, but it sounds like his prediction is we're going to see one more caution flag. We're going to see these guys come to pit road one more time for fresh rubber, and he thinks the 6 is going to go to victory lane. So certainly a great observation there by our friend Dano Skins out in the YouTube chat box tonight, waiting for more to come in. Now I'm seeing more picks come in. Bob Tompkins out there saying the 13 of Harry Codian is going to go to victory lane. So the consensus, guys, is it's going to come somewhere from our top 2, as our friend Dano predicted. Yellow flag on the speedway with 25 laps here to go. And God, do we say here, Todd Stanton, we are going to have a Thursday night shootout here live on DRTV for the holiday race here, the Christmas race for our friends at Hobo Racing. DRTV's first trip over to Hobo for the very first time, and what better way to settle it on the short tracks on a Thursday night, Todd? A little 20-lap shootout to the finish of this thing. This is going to get epic.
Yeah, it's going to get epic because these guys all coming down pit road. Is the call going to be 2 tires? Is it going to be 4? We'll keep you posted. We're going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, as we keep it posted on the pits. He's going to show what happened out there.
Yeah, this isn't really where it started, but this is where it's going to end. We're going to keep our cameras on the 88 on the D machine. Here we go. It looks like Kring up ahead of him is going to actually cause this. We'll let this run through slow. Kring up in the green and orange car on the high side there, smacks the wall, gets a little bit loose. It starts going around on him. As soon as it goes around, the 88 of D gets into him. No, he misses him. Now he gets into him, gets into the wall. Next thing you know, they're both dancing. The reason why we kept it on the 88, look at these amazing barrel rolls going down the front stretch. He is rolling, 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 rolling. Like the song goes, right by the flag stand. He's finally going to come to a stop. Up on 2 wheels. Look at that. In reverse on 2 wheels. He gets tagged one more time. Finally brings it back down on all 4. Tough break for the D machine and Kring as well. Unbelievable event there. Never seen that much barrel rolling on a short track, guys. Back up to you.
Now, Rich, let me cut you off right there. Did I hear for the very first time Rich Patton singing here live on DRTV?
Oh, you heard that rolling, rolling, rolling.
All right, well, always on our toes, always something new. Never know what you got to expect from the genius, which is Rich Patton, night after night here on DRTV, the thoroughbreds of sim race television. Rich is always doing a great job, as always, at the manning the controls of the DRTV control booth as we just get up here in the booth to talk about it. But Joe Allen, you were keeping your eye toward pit road, updating what, some of the different strategy we've seen on pit road. And dare I say, did we see a 2-tire pit stop and somebody make the play for track position this late?
Yeah, I had my eye on pit road. I still have my eye out on the racetrack. As we see, the lights are on the pace car right now. And I don't see him diving down yet, but that number 24 of Daniel Dupuis has stayed out on the racetrack. And if the lights go out this time, he's going to be the only taker to not come down pit road and take tires. That's if the lights go out this time. Now, besides the 24, we have the number 11 of Steve Grant. He went with a 2-tire pit strategy call. And then our first guy on 4 tires is the number 13, and then the number 6, and then I believe the number 27 was also a 2-tire call. So it looks like the DRTV pace van lights are out, guys. So the 24, damaged race car, mind you, missing his rear bumper. Spoilers elevated just a little bit. And he's going to go out there and he's going to resume from the race lead. So I think we're going to be in for one hell of a show as we get ready to complete lap 228 here when we get this thing back under green and come back with about 20 laps to go.
And Todd, did we see a little bit of high speed, pit road, short track hijinks on pit road between that number 13 and that number 6? Did we see a little bit of, little short track competition trying to box somebody in your pit stall to maybe, gain that track position?
Well, yeah, we definitely did. We seen the 6 tried to box the 13, and it did not work. But it was a valiant effort. I tell you, he came in a little bit sideways in that box to 13 a little bit, so the 13 had to slow up his roll coming out of pit road. His green flag is in the air. Dupre in that number 24 machine is your current leader, but Steve Grant took 2 tires. Is that going to be the right call? Is that going to be the correct call here tonight? Steve Grant has been pretty quick. He is all over the 24 that quick, and he's going to take over the lead.
Steve Grant looking for the race lead in turn number 3 and 4, and as a developing situation, the 13 of Harry Codian. Not sure if there was, looks like maybe some kind of penalty being ministered to the 13. The 13 on pit road, guys. That's going to take Codian out of this race here with less than 20 laps to go. But as we turn our attention back to the front of the field, it's the 11 of Steve Grant using the benefit of those 2 tires. Also 2 tires for that Daniel Dupuis, number 24 up front. But as we say, Joe Allen, those 4 tires from later on back, the 6 of, the 6 is on the move there as they hit turn 1. Can the 11 hold them off now with less than 20 laps remaining?
I don't know, but he's certainly going to try. He slammed the door on the number 6 there as they went down through turn 1. They're battling down the backstretch now as we see that number 27. That's Andre Mongeon. He's on 2 tires as well, guys, and he's up there trying to battle the 6 and the 11 to see if he can get himself into the race lead. And we see the 31 and the 9 all over the back bumper to the 27, who now goes to the high side. This is one hell of a race as we battle through turns 1 and 2 here. The 31 looks like he's going to look to clear the 27 down the backstretch. The 11's throwing a block halfway down the backstretch. I mean, the 6 is doing everything he can to try and get himself around the 11 without totally wrecking him.
Now, Rich, I heard you use a phrase in my ear here just a second ago. I'm going to let you just enlighten our viewers on this, but did I hear you say the prediction, somebody here, and Hobo being very grounded in the modified division, are we going to see one of these guys use the chrome horn to make a pass?
I don't know. I'm telling you, these guys are so close getting this corner. That 6 is looking so hungry. It would not shock me a bit if we didn't see the chrome horn used tonight. These guys are racing tough right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. Now less than 20 laps to go. Make that 15 at the line. 235 laps about to click up on the board of 250. And in contact on the racetrack, guys, yellow flag on the speedway.
Big wreck there on the backstretch as it looked like the number 6 of Rich Napick actually got into the back bumper of the 11 as they were coming off of turn 2. That got him spun around sideways, collected a bunch of people in the top 5 and the top 10 down the backstretch. So this is going to reset the field, guys. We just completed lap 235. We got just about 15 laps to go in this event. We'll probably take the green flag with around 11 or 12 laps to go. So what do you guys think? Who takes tires here? Do you take tires? Do you take 4 tires? Do you take 2 tires? Do you stay out? What's the strategy call here?
Well, I'll take that first. If I'm like a guy like Jeff Fugate in the number 9, maybe even the 31, I'm the 31 runner-up, but if I'm the 9, if I'm 3rd place on back, I think I may come to pit road, but as they roll by the entrance of the pit lane, pits are open. The 9 not going to come in, the 12 not going to come in. Not seeing any of the race leaders, Todd Stanton, come onto pit road. The first of those takers looks to be Props there in that number 81, but he's 1 lap down, so none of our race leaders electing to come take fresh tires, so they're going to elect track position this time, Rich Patton, but I'm going to give it to you. Show us what happened here with the next DRTV replay.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one that called it, but that's kind of what it looks like. I think it's just tough racing. I think these guys were really racing hard and racing close, but we're going to go ahead and play this out. As we know, we called it the chrome horn. He might have given it to him, might have just not backed off a hair, but we're going to see this as they come around through the corner. It looks like the 6 gets into the back of the 11 just a little bit, just enough to upset the rear end of the car. That's going to send Grant up into the wall. Everybody else goes scattering. Let's see if we can't change this camera picture around and we can see what's going on with the rest of these vehicles or the rest of these cars. Everybody finally comes to a slow screech and then stop. It looks like the 12 also bounced it off the wall on the inside, or that might have been the 21 as well. Everybody else is able to get through all that smoke and dust as everything comes to a stop, but it looks like the chrome horn might have been delivered, probably not purposely, but they certainly were racing very close and very tight for that lead. Excellent, outstanding racing going on by this Hobo Racing League, guys. Back up to you.
Yeah, it's just some outstanding racing here, and now we're getting to the waning stages. 237 laps of 250 up on the board, the 2016 version of the annual Christmas race over here to our friends at Hobo Racing League here tonight. And we look to the front of this field, Todd Stanton, the number 6, Rich Napick, been the story of this race all night long. Up near the front of this field is going to restart now with less than 15 laps to go with the race lead. And, we talk about it here. We know the guys like Stanakis, Fugate right behind them. Them 2 guys have been fast all night long. Are we going to see any more of that kind of blocking type of racing? Are we going to see more chrome home action here as we get into these last dozen laps or so.
And this is why I like short track racing. It's a travel of the unknown. Is somebody going to do the chrome horn? More than likely, you're going to see the chrome horn. You're going to see people move each other out of the way. It's short track racing at its finest. You know just as well as I do, being from the modified world up in the Northeast. I'm from the dirt track modified world from the Northeast. You're going to move a guy out of the way. It's just part of short track racing. You're going to move the guy out of the way if you have a better run than him. You're not going to care if he's blocking you. You're going to go for that win. I mean, if you're faster, you're going to look for any way around him, whether it's clean or whether it's using that chrome horn.
And I'll ask you the same question, Joe, because I know you have a great short track out, you with the Bull Ring at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway out in your neck of the woods. I know you've been there multiple times over the years. You think we're going to see any of that short track type racing here in these closing laps? Is somebody going to make the move and maybe use that chrome horn, move them out the way to maybe set up the pass for the race win here in these last 10 laps?
Abso-freaking-lutely. We're talking about a Christmas race, fun race, no points, winner take all. And as far as I know, the winner actually gets a Hobo Racing t-shirt. So if you want a t-shirt, you better be willing to move the guy in front of you out of the way to get the t-shirt. And I know I would move the guy out of my way if I was racing for a t-shirt. So you know, as the DRTV Pace fan pulls off here, guys, the 6 now has teammates behind him. Doesn't get a very good jump, actually. 31 all over his bumper. The 31 and the 9 have been able to keep their cars clean pretty much all night, and we talked about it earlier. Keep the fenders on it, be there at the end, and put yourself in position to do it. And you know what? That 6 is going to run right around the middle of the backstretch and try and block as best as he can, but I don't know that he can keep the 31 or the 9 behind him, guys. Sleeper picks. I don't know that any of us thought that those guys would have anything for him. But look at this. The 31's all over his back bumper trying to see if maybe he can get a run to get around him and put himself into the lead.
And you know who may be in the catbird seat in all this is these guys in the top 3 racing tooth and nail. I don't see Ricky Bobby out on the racetrack tonight, but I see Cal on the racetrack, and that's Cal Lovell aboard that number 12 machine. And we documented his struggles here earlier on tonight. Multiple laps down, was outside the top 20. He finds himself with 10 laps remaining in the 4th position aboard that number 12. So Cal shaking and baking his way through the field into the top 5. And you know, Todd Stan, if something happening with contact up in the front of the field here late in this going, you may see Cal Lovell find his way to victory lane before this thing is done.
Yeah, you might. It's going to be interesting to see. These guys are all over each other. The 6 machine has been leading this race quite a bit all evening long. He also was behind the guy that just got spun out there. He inserted the chrome horn. Is the favor going to be repaid to him by one of these teammates that are lurking behind him? Now they go to the high side. Looks like 6 got a little bit loose. They look to the high side as the 31 looks to the high side now, jumps back into line. We're going to have to just wait and see as now things are starting to really heat up. Here comes the 31 down to the inside.
Yeah, and you think, you know, we're seeing some teammates try to work together out there. That 31 and those 9 machines trying to make that move to the high side of the racetrack. That certainly didn't work. We saw Stanakis there, the 31, trying to move to the low side underneath the 6. The 6 throw the block. That didn't work. What do you think, Joe Allen? With those 2 team cars out there running 2nd and 3rd, do they got enough gumption there and left in these tires in these race cars to maybe make a tandem move to the outside? Can they make that pass on the 6 machine together? Are they going to have to make that dive bomb move on the inside? We'll throw that out the window. Yellow flag once again on the speedway.
Yep, yellow flag has been thrown. Just completed lap 244, started lap 245 here, guys. We've had some quick cautions, some long cautions. We got 4 cars not on the lead lap. I don't know if we're going to get this thing back under green. We're going to hope we do. We want to end this thing under green to put on a show for you guys. But if this doesn't go green, hats off to the number 6 for the blocking that he was able to pull to keep those guys behind him, because they were certainly a whole hell of a lot faster than he was, not having any damage. But, Rich, for hopefully the last time tonight, let's throw it down to you real quick and show us why we are under caution for like the 14th time tonight, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not counting, but just watching the exciting racing. We're going to keep our cameras on the 32 of Bill Kring, as this is a reason for our last caution. Looks like there's a little bit of contact between the 32 and the 11. We'll go ahead and play this out in slow motion as they make contact going down the road here. Going into the corner, there's contact right there. It looks like the 32 is going to get his rear end loose from behind that, smashes it up against the outside guardrail. Would say it's a wall, but it's not. It's a guardrail. And he smacks the guardrail again as he goes through the spin cycle shortly but quickly. everybody else is able to get around him. Doesn't look like anybody else is going to get involved. Bill's going to drop it down there by the apron. As you see, one car gets around him on the high side. So no other cars involved. Tough break for Bill Kring in that 32 machine. And tough break that it's going to possibly end the race this late, guys. Are we going to go back green or what? Back up to you.
I don't know, man. I think we're going to see a shootout here. My prediction, I think we're going to see probably at the very least a 2-lap shootout. I do not think we've seen the end of green flag racing here. I certainly want to see how this thing plays out on one more restart. The question is, Joe, we've seen these guys now in these last couple of laps trying to throw those blocks and maybe instigating a little bit of contact and contributing to these yellow flags. Are we going to see this race end under green flag? I sure hope so, because I want to see how this thing plays out.
Well, you know, it's going to depend, Phil. If the lights go out this time, we'll start 248, which means we'll go back to green racing at lap 249, which will give us 2 laps to go. The question that's going to be brought up is whether or not the 9, first of all, is going to be patient behind his teammate in the 31. And then the second question that begs to be is how patient the 31 is going to be with the 6 in front of him, knowing that they're racing for a Hobo Racing t-shirt. And anybody that knows that's dedicated to running in their own leagues, because we all have our own leagues that we're dedicated to running in. If you can win a t-shirt for your home league, I mean, I know for one that if I was racing for my home league's t-shirt, I'd want it. So, you know, it's going to be a question of our teammates going to be patient with each other, and how patient is the 31 going to be with the 6?
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that as the field hits the start-finish line. The starter puts the signal out there. Lights extinguish atop of DRTV pace fan. We're going to restart this race, guys. I believe that's a 2-lap shootout to the finish, because 248 laps on the board. You know, we got the Common Core going on up here, guys. We certainly do not do the math correctly up here. But a 2-lap shootout here. Can Rich Napick in that number 6, can he hold hungry challengers from that Justin Akis, from Jeff Fugate aboard that number 9? Can those guys make the move that win this race late? Todd Stanton, your prediction.
I think some of these guys can make the move late. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I can't predict very well. Pace van is taking that hard left-hand turn off of pit road. It's gonna get crazy here, Phil.
Yep, as that DRTV pace van takes that hard left-hand turn down pit road. That number 6, the dominant car all night, Rich Napkick, he's going to take us back to green. We see the 31 dive all the way down to the bottom. He's going to try to get a run going down into turn 1. He's not going to be able to do anything. We see the 12 in the catbird seat back in the 4th position. He's trying to get a run on the 9. He's not going to be able to do anything with that. The 6 is able to pull himself out a little bit of a gap over the 31, Phil. So the 31 now going to look a little high to try to keep his momentum up. He's not going to be able to do anything with it as his teammate. The 9 is going to get underneath him trying to go for that 2nd spot.
Yeah, teammates racing for 2nd as they take the white flag. They hit turn number 1 and 2. The 6 of Napik sliding up the hill. Teammates, the 31 of Stanakis, the 9 of Fugate side by side. Looks like that's going to just kind of eliminate any chance of them for the win as they race their way now off of turn number 4 is a yellow flag on the racetrack. We're going to race back to the checker here. Checker flag in the air. It's going to be Rich Napik. He's going to win the 2016 Christmas race over here for Hobo Racing. It's going to be the 31 of Jeff Stanakis 2nd, the 9 of Jeff Fugate 3rd. Steve Rubino, you know, the owner of Hobo Racing, rebounds for a great 4th place finish in Bob Becker of 17. He's going to finish up that number 17, a damaged race car, Todd. He's going to bring that home on a solid top 5 finish.
Yeah, solid top 5 finish. What a great race! What a great finish there at the end. There, the teammates trying to get around the number 6 machine, not able to do so because they fought within themselves for that 2nd spot. Well, that's the way it goes. Like Joe said, teammates go out the window with about 10 to go. You're going to try to get the best position you can. As the number 6 down there on the track, Napik burning it down. A well-deserved victory here for the MNRL Speedway for the 2016 rendition of the Christmas race here at Hobo Racing. Rich Napik picks up the win, and he's burning it down on the front straightaway.
He's certainly burning it down, as we would say, is celebrating a great Christmas anniversary race here tonight. As the holiday season definitely among us, and these guys at Hobo celebrating like none other. And it's going to be Rich Napik, the number 6, picking up the win. Jeff Stanakis will finish up 2nd. Jeff Fugate's going to finish up in that 3rd spot. We're going to move into the post-race show, see if we can't talk to our top 3 finishers. I believe we're going to be moving it over to to our friend Mr. Joe Allen up here in the booth. I believe you're going to try to catch up with our third place finisher, that being Jeff Fugate aboard the number 9. So, Joe, down to you. See if we can't get away with that driver of that 9 machine.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here on pit road, just caught up with Jeff Fugate piloting that number 9 machine tonight. Jeff, definitely an anxious last 2-lap shootout there. We saw you get underneath your teammate to try and get around him for second position. Just missed and was just a little shy on it. So tell us about your night. Little plagued by cautions. Had a great opening 30-lap run there, and then got to green flag pit stops there in the middle portion of the race. But still, definitely an awesome race out there. What was it like from the driver's seat?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got up front and led a lap or two early, and messed up one time in the pits there and kind of got behind, but got back up there, and it was fun. At the end there, we were running pretty close to it. Thought we'd put a good show on. I know we didn't have enough laps to do much there at the end at that caution, but I told my partner, I said, I'm not gonna be able to get by you, but I'm gonna make it look good anyway.
Well, there you go. We saw you and your teammate, the 31 there, working real well together throughout the majority of the race, and there was actually a time when both of you, with about 30 laps to go, were able to get around the 6 and really gap yourselves from him until that 13 ended up catching up to you guys towards the end of that run. But definitely you two had strong cars for the majority of the race. We saw you hang out in the top 5 a whole lot. I mean, what was the passing like out there? What was the tire wear like? Was it pretty hard to pass as the tires got old? Was it more tire conservation than anything? I mean, what was it like as you guys were putting laps on these tires for some of these long green flag runs that we saw?
Yeah, it was, the tires went away. I mean, if you took care of them, it wasn't too bad. We were saving tires that whole long run and just waiting on we'd keep pressure on the 6 there and those guys, and we was saving tires, do a lot of lifting, going in the corner and setting the car up and coming out good. And we was probably going to be okay, but then when we got in that, everybody started pitting, we got in the pits and a caution come out, and we ended up being stuck a lap down, had to do the wave around. And so that put us back behind again. And, we still was up front, but when you're in the first and second and you end up in 7th or 8th, you got to start all over. So kind of messes up the momentum, but it was a lot of fun. It was a little tough to pass. You just had to wait on it in the corner, set it up, and just don't overdrive the tires.
Definitely. Well, great job on a rebound. Come in for a 3rd place finish here, just a little short of that Hobo Racing t-shirt, but still put on a great show. Congratulations to you on your 3rd place finish. But I'm going to hand the mic over to you real quick. Do you have any friends, family, any sponsors out there, any teammates that you want to thank that got you here tonight and got you propelled into that 3rd place finish?
Yeah, I just want to thank Steve, Hobo Racing, and all the guys over there putting on a good series this year, and this race, setting it up is really fun. A lot of fun, a lot of good guys over there, a lot of good drivers. And Jeff, my teammate, Tom White didn't make it tonight, but another good teammate. And but all the guys doing a real good job. You guys, I guess, putting on a good show for us. We like that. That's a lot of fun, these TV races. And thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Well, that is our 3rd place finisher, the number 9 of Jeff Fugate. Congratulations again on your 3rd place finish tonight, Jeff. Thanks for putting on a show for all of our awesome fans and viewers out there. You guys did a hell of a job tonight. But I think Todd's caught up with our 2nd place finisher tonight, guys. So, Todd, I'm going to throw it down to you.
Yes, indeed. I've caught up with the driver out of Michigan, Jeff Stakanis, in that number 31. I tell you, your teammate finished 3rd. He said he was gonna. He said he was on the radio saying that he was going to make that look good there towards the end. He did make it look good. He thought he was going to be able to pass you, but he said he had nothing left for you. So there's a few more laps left in that race. You think you were able to get around that number 6 machine?
Oh yeah, long runs. I was really good. Yeah, if I'd have had a few more laps, had a few more tricks, I could have. Might have been able to get around him.
Well, there on the start, you tried to pull a maneuver down to the bottom side there real quick and try to get him by surprise there. Yeah, I know them 2-lap shootouts are real hard to try to make anything happen, especially if you're a good tire conserver. But tell us about what was going on. Did you have to back out of it? I'm not sure of the rules here at Hobo, but you're not supposed to pass before the line?
Yeah, you can't pass before the line. I started in 1st, trying to get a good jump on him because I didn't know exactly what gear he was going to be in. So I've been starting in 2nd all night, and I I went for first gear. It seemed to be fine on the restart. So yeah, I tried to jump low to get just a fender underneath him, but I had to let up just a teeny bit. So that was all I had.
Still, yeah, a second place finish. You got to be darn proud of the second place finish. One spot shy of that Hobo Racing T-shirt, but you got a lot of TV time tonight here on DRTV, and you guys put on one whale of a show. At times, I seen 3 wide through the field, and you guys for a short track, that's a real fast short track. You guys put on a whale of a show.
Yeah, it's a very, very fun short track. Fast short track too. Yes, love it.
Well, Jeff, I'm going to give you the microphone. Thank whoever you'd like to thank that were out there in YouTube land who's going to watch this video maybe later on in the going or later on this evening or maybe even in the near future. But I'm going to give you the microphone. Thank whoever you'd like to thank out there.
I'd like to thank Steve for putting this on and everybody at Hobo and all the admins and I'd like to thank all the guys. They're what keeps the old league going, and it's fun times.
Well, Jeff, again, congratulations on your second place finish here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you more here on DRTV. Again, congratulations, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, who is caught up with our race winner, Rich. It's a Rich and Rich show down in Victory Lane. Oh, imagine that one.
Yeah, no kidding, Todd. I made my way down here to Victory Lane at this fast, short track, 1 mile oval. Got up here against Rich Napick. Rich, one heck of a race. You were the car to beat all night tonight, man. You were darn fast out there. What's going on? How you feeling?
Good. Heck of a race for everybody. I just want to say to the 11 car, sorry I tried to stay off of them, but yeah, it was a good win and good group of guys to race with. I just want to thank Hobo for everything they do, Steve and Dan and all the admins. Everybody that races with us, good group of guys.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. You probably jumped the gun on me anyway. I was going to give the mic to you a little bit later. I still want to chat with you a little bit, but one heck of a race, 2016 Christmas race here for Hobo Racing. And I hear you win a T-shirt for winning this thing. Is that right?
Yep, that's what Steve says.
All right, buddy. Well, there you go. Yeah, we also watched that very closely on television here tonight when, you kind of gave him the chrome horn. It was just tough, close racing. It was exciting, had us on the edge of the seat, man. And things like that happen when you're racing short tracks. But one heck of an event tonight. Congratulations on the win, and hats off to you for winning this Christmas race. And that Hobo Racing League T-shirt. You got to be excited about that. We're going to give the mic to you one more time. The floor is all yours, sir. Go ahead and congratulate who got you here tonight, and congratulations on the win again. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I like to thank you guys for covering the race. You guys did an excellent job, and hopefully you guys could do it again for us.
All right. Well, I think Steve whispered in my ear a little bit earlier that he's got more plans, so we'll have to work together with Steve and see how that goes out. And I think I don't know what to say. Exciting racing tonight. Congratulations. We're going to go ahead and let you get back with your race fans and your pit crew and all and do some celebrating on this win. We're going to send it back up to the booth with Phil. And I believe Phil's got a special interview for us tonight. Phil, back to you.
Yeah, I think I've caught up with the owner of Hobo Racing, that being Mr. Steve Rubino again. And Steve, a great race for you guys at Hobo here tonight. Tremendous action here at MNRL Speedway for the 2016 Christmas race. And I'm sure as the owner of Hobo Racing, you got to be excited for what you guys put on here tonight. It was one tremendous race.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot of action.
Well, it certainly gave us a great show here, Steve. Well, once again, before we sign off for the night, I want you to give you the floor. I want you to do all the advertising for your league here. Tell all our viewers how they can get involved in Hobo Racing and, what nights of the week you guys run and what kind of things you guys running right now.
Well, we race 3 nights a week, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday nights. Thursday nights is strictly wheeling modifieds. Right now we're running the ASA mod on Tuesday for the winter series in open setups, and the GN69s on Sunday nights in fixed setups. Race usually starts around 9 o'clock. And then come February, we'll jump back into the Cup cars on Tuesday nights for open setups and follow the NASCAR schedule. And I believe this year we're going to run the new Xfinity 16 mod when the on Sundays when the GN 69s are done. And we'll also follow the schedule, NASCAR schedule with that too for the Nationwide Series.
Well, Steve, it sounds like Hobo Racing has a lot of great things lined up for the rest of this winter season. And, of course, as we roll out into 2017, as everybody starts to get back into that grind. But we wish you guys the best of luck. And on behalf of all of us here at the DRL Network, we thank you for having us over here again tonight. And we hope to see you guys again real soon. We've really had a great time. And thank you for all your efforts getting us here tonight. It really made a great time. It made it very easy on all of us. So, again, we appreciate the work tonight. And we hope to see you again here real soon, my friend.
Yeah, we had a great time. You guys did a great job, and I mentioned this to one of the guys earlier that next month we're going to be having a New Year's to kick off the 2017 season. So we're going to be having a live broadcast with you guys, a New Year's race, different mod and different track. So I'll get back with you on that, all the info as soon as we put it together. And yeah, it's always fun. Having a live broadcast always brings a little bit more excitement and a little bit more nerves to racing. It's really cool. And so thank you. And I want to say congrats to Rich on the win.
All right. Well, Steve, a little bit of breaking news for us here. We'll be back here next month and hopefully get the date all squared away. And looks like it may be the next time DRTV comes on the airwaves here in a couple of weeks. So, again, Steve, on behalf of all of us, thank you again. And we'll be catching you again here real soon. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, Steve Rubino, the owner of Hobo Racing, guys, and a tremendous night of racing on hand here. The 2016 Christmas race here for Hobo Racing, and a little bit of breaking news there, Todd. Looks like we're going to be back on the air with Hobo here in a couple of weeks here for New Year's race. Cannot wait to get that date solid down and bring this great league to our viewers here once again in a couple of weeks, because these guys certainly did a great job getting us over here tonight, and it was an awful lot of fun. I hope you've had a good time.
Oh, indeed. I had a great time over here at Hobo Racing. Fantastic showing here tonight. Short tracks, our specialties, Phil, up here in the Northeast. We love these short tracks. It's always great to see something different other than Talladega or Daytona. We've seen a lot of those races. I do enjoy them, but I enjoy a good short track race. And there was 27 cars that took the green flag out there tonight. It was fantastic showing throughout the whole field. These guys did a wonderful job, a bang-up job, I should say, for that matter. 2 days worth of work. I mean, we had 2 days, and we put this together, and it was fantastic. A great showing here by the Hobo Racing League. It says an awful lot about these guys over here, that these guys do a fantastic job and can get everything together in 2 days. So very, very organized league.
Certainly are. I want to thank your presenting sponsor here tonight, Apple Garage Door, for all the great work and allowing DRTV to come aboard here at Hobo Racing tonight. So I think that's going to draw us to a close for the calendar year of 2016. So until next time, guys, we come back on the air with DRL Live here on Monday night, January the 2nd. And look out for a great date for us here back with Hobo Racing for a New Year's race. Pay attention to our social media, DRLnetwork.com. And also, our Facebook, DRL Live here for the talk show, and all your results, as always, to DRL Network or DRL Live at DRLnetwork.com is the home email. So, Joe Allen, for one quick word, I hope you had a great time here tonight. These guys certainly did an awesome job for us.
Oh, it was a fantastic night, a fantastic show. My first experience with Hobo Racing, both on a racing aspect, and I think it's our first time as a broadcast crew coming over here and taking over a race for Hobo Racing. So, those guys, Class Act guys, we had a lot of fun with them before the race even got started, as you, me, and Todd went up there to go mess around and figure out how we had to pronounce last names. So it's always fun to have those interactions with guys like that. And, I appreciate, everything that they do to allow us to come in and do our thing. And, thank you guys to everybody up here, you and Todd and Rich, for allowing me to come in here and give my insight and enjoy the times that the three of us have up here, the four of us have up here when we do these broadcasts. And, I know we touched on a little bit earlier, DRL Live will be back on the air in January, that first week in January, and that'll actually be my first time back onto the show now. I'll be making my appearance on there to join you guys around the round table and give my insight and talk about all things sim racing, and I'm excited for it. So the new year's coming, and we got great things planned for the new year, so I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, we're going to sign off here for the evening on behalf of my broadcast partners, Todd Stanton, Joe Allen, and Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, in the DRTV control booth for the final time in 2016. DRTV signs off the air. So, of course, we want to miss you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks here in 2017 for the next installment of DRTV Live on the DRL Network. Good night.